in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desire is for a Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant visionary action plan that's ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians just like you to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower, and generations of born and unborn Bahamians we, the people, must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Today on Hard Copy, 20 days countdown to D-Day, Referendum Day, June the 7th. Are you ready? Today on the show, we've got the proponents of the yes vote. They've got a lot to say. Hopefully you have some questions.
One loan.
One low payment.
That's right. Commonwealth Bank is here to help you consolidate and save. Once your loan is booked, you will receive a $100 gift card and automatically enter to win $5,000 cash. Not only can you get one low payment to help you breathe easier, but you could win $5,000 cash.
Our debt consolidation loans help you get more.
Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
I'm Wayne Monroe. It has come to my attention that some parts of the No campaign are saying that I am voting no on the 4 bills and urging others also to vote no. This is to take some of my old comments completely out of context. This is categorically untrue. Having read the 4 bills, I'm satisfied that the provisions made by the first 3 bills cannot be made with the same effect by ordinary acts of Parliament. I believe in supporting my own, so I support Bills 1 to 3. I am also satisfied that because of Article 26(4)(c), Bill 4 would close the door to same-sex marriage in the Bahamas. I believe in the biblical definition of marriage, and because of that, I will be voting yes for Bill 4. If you also believe in traditional marriage, protect it by voting yes on Bill 4.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement from the Yes Vote campaign.
It is written that ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. If the truth be hidden from us, we will forever be slaves to evil devils. Now, people are out there telling you that in the Bahamas, men and women don't have equal rights. But just because someone keeps repeating something doesn't make it true. My name is Adam Nicholas Brown, and I'm urging each of you to vote no on all 4 of these bills and send every last one of them back to the pits of hell from whence they came.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement from the Vote No campaign.
Mommy, what does comprehensive mean?
It's when you include everything, not just some things. Why?
I'm reading it on your Facebook page. Your friend Kalina has comprehensive health coverage.
Let me see that. Comprehensive health coverage that includes primary and specialist care, hospitalization, surgical services, overseas care, and rehabilitative services.
So they didn't leave anything out?
They sure didn't. Kalina really is my friend.
Talk to Kalina about comprehensive health coverage that won't leave you exposed. Visit kalina.com or find us on Facebook.
When I fly with Sky. Sky Bahamas. When I fly with Sky. Sky Bahamas. The plane them spanking clean. The pilots them voice red. They fly you out on time. They fly the attendants red. Service is their passion. With you they take good care. Safety is their culture. Yes, they'll get you there. When I fly.
Fly with us to Fort Lauderdale or the beautiful Bahama Islands. Book today at 702-2600 or visit our website at skybahamas.net and experience Sky.
And still the same. I caught up with you yesterday.
Right now, we're enshrining, entrenching, whatever you want to call it. Sex means male or female. How do we stand in a world that has come to a point where we will say good is evil and evil is good?
The citizens of the Bahamas or any nation have a legitimate right to be concerned and to express their concern in these matters.
There are people who have to say no and have people who will say yes. But how do we continue to do this? We are doing this only by the help of God.
We need to be careful to allow people to use these opportunities to interject things that shouldn't be there.
Now, the statement that she seems to have said is that if a woman is in love with a woman, then you can't discriminate against them. We're not talking about two women.
And people don't like to hear God. If you notice that, every time we say that, people don't want to hear about it.
We are not allowing it to be just a matter of conjecture. It could mean. We are saying this is what it means, specifically.
If I believe that you are threatening my foundation, I should say something. That's not fear. That's responsibility.
It is Tuesday, the 17th day in the month of May 2016. As you battle the congested city streets and drive home traffic, we have cloudy skies with a lot of heat today. It's very hot outside. 86 right now is the current temperature on the outside of the nation's capital. A low tonight of 78. That's pretty warm as well. 20% chance of rain in the forecast. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy. We're brought to you today by proponents for the Yes votes and also by the No Vote Campaign Committee, Cybertech, Career College, Nassau Motor Company, Commonwealth Bank, Ministry of Tourism, Kalina Insurance for comprehensive coverage, Superwash with 10 locations open 24/7. Also, Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, SuperValue, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, the McKinney Media Group for effective PR concepts and advertisements, Managers, Shorts and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron's Electric Motors, Clarendon Wolf Road, Sky Bahamas, professionals in every way, every day. CFA, Cleaner Financial Advisors Limited, Executive Printers, they do printing right. Henry F. Store, the Light People on Mackey Street, and Buddy's Wings and Greens on Foxhill Road, right across from Freedom Park. You can call us today on Hard Copy at 325-0235 or 325-024243, 325-025253. You can also WhatsApp and text us at 376-9234. Call us on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com, cable top box 970, tune in radio, iPad, iPhone, any Android, you'll get us. You can follow us on Facebook, Hard Copy, and on Twitter, Hard Copy Bahamas. Welcome to our show today because we've got lots that we're talking about. First and foremost, though, before we bring our guests in, you've heard about the Right Honorable Prime Minister and his presentation to the Haitian Flag Day. That has gotten a lot of people talking and wondering what the Prime Minister's up to.
To see for myself the thousands of you that exist, and I want to be able to say, I see you wearing on your shirt, yes, I am one. Yes, I am one of them. We say you now. I am one of them too. We say you now too. I've only come to show my respect and to let you know that a long time ago, there was a man by the name of Stephen Dillett who became the first man of color to be elected to the House of Assembly. And he was from Haiti. They have named the school after him. Because he served in the House of Assembly for 33 years. So I know sometime soon, there will be another Stephen Dillett. I hope I'm alive to see it. God bless all of you.
Some people call it to find out whether or not this means that the nation's chief executive is getting into the election mode and is trying to appease and appeal to the people of the Haitian origin since he was there that Flag Day on the weekend. But of course, another one said to me, well, you know, Steve, the prime minister likes large crowds. And once there's a large crowd, he's going to be there gathering around to say his thing. One interesting thing he did say was that he noticed that the people had on yes shirts that says, yes, I am one of them. And he went there and said, yes, I am one of them too. And the crowd seemed to have gone into a frenzy. But I suppose what the prime minister is really reading into when he saw that yes on the shirts was his whole affiliation and connection to the idea of a yes vote. And that's what we're talking about today on the program. His idea of a yes vote for people to, in fact, support the initiative by the country, by the government, spearheaded by them, to see to it that this referendum gets the kind of traction that he is anticipating. And so today we're going to be talking to two very informed individuals. In fact, you've not heard much from them while on this campaign trail of the yes vote, but they are both the second in command. I call them the deputy chairpersons of the yes vote campaign. You know, it's led by Lynn Holowesco and Lady Sharon Wilson, and of course, Heather Hunt, and of course, Cheryl Bazard. We will be hearing from Heather Hunt and Cheryl Bazard today because people want to hear a new voice to tell them why it is important that they should go after and even consider voting yes. And my big question today, why vote yes? Why vote yes? Now, of course, today's show is a paid program, but nonetheless, the information is here to be shared, and you are invited to be a part of that discussion by calling or texting your concerns into this particular grouping. Now, let's just make sure that we understand something here. From the very beginning, a lot of people have been saying that, you know, we have not been properly educated along the lines of what these bills are all about and what's expected of the people. This group that's here with me today from the Yes Vote campaign, they're the ones who have been trying to convince you to do something, but it's after the Educational Commission or the Educational Committee headed by Ruby Nottage and Company, Justice Ruby Nottage and Company, was supposed to have informed you and educated you on the fine aspects of this idea for a yes vote. My guests know quite well that this has gotten a lot of negative publicity. They also know that a number of people are of the no vote mindset. And so today it is that kind of a situation where you want to listen and also hear what they have to say, as well as ask questions as to so be informed. And so I'm happy that they're here with us today. And in a minute, we shall get started on why vote yes and not vote no. The people from the Yes Vote campaign with me. And we begin in earnest after these words.
Let's go. Hey! Remember when Granny saved my some for a rainy day? Living from paycheck to paycheck, you lived in the worst way. Plan your future goals with B.O.B. Your future is bright, bright, bright. And you can buy that car, save regularly. Your future's bright. Then you can buy that house, save regularly. Your future's bright. I see you in your business. Yeah. Here's what you need to do. So a little we for a lot higher interest from B.O.B. Go B.O.B. Your bank of solutions.
The best insurance in town is Advantage Insurance on Collins Avenue. They are simply the best because they provide easy, affordable insurance rates for home, car, business, or whatever is valuable or important to you. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, is the fastest, most progressive insurance company in the Bahamas because they really take care of you by making insurance totally affordable. Call them now at 356-0285 or 6 or email them at info@advantagebahamas.com.
Double Down is here. Shop at Super Value or Quality Markets now through June 2016 and receive double quality stamps and 1% cash back when you pay with your SunCard MasterCard. With 24-hour ABM convenience, online support services, and no annual fee for the first year, SunCard MasterCard is the card that gives you double. Double up your quality stamps when you double down with Commonwealth Bank's Sun Card MasterCard at Super Value and Quality Markets.
How the exercise going?
Not too good.
What happened?
Well, you know, Mr. Junior make me one treadmill.
Make?
You know how he like tinker. Anyhow, he built this treadmill and he hook it up to one of them clothesline, which you could spin. You know the kind what I mean?
You made the one would look like the upside down umbrella?
That's the one. He figure that since I was working out, I just power up one of them clothesline. So he hook it up direct to the treadmill.
Oh, so whilst you're walking, clothes spinning. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to you, eh? You know how heavy that clothes is? But anyhow, I right there struggling to get the treadmill going. Slow. She start to go now. The treadmill going and the clothes spinning. This time now I building up speed. I running now. I running. The clothes spinning fast now.
You're flying now.
Yes, and so was the clothes. You would have thought he had enough sense to screw the thing down, eh?
The clothes gone?
I see where they land yet.
So what you gonna do?
Go back to Superwash where I should have gone in the first beginning.
Superwash. They washes and presses and cleans you 24/7.
Parents, there's no need for your kids to be bored this summer. Bring them to the best academic summer camp in town. Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp for kids. Young adults in primary, junior, and senior high school. Reinforcing what was taught in school: math, reading, language arts, and computers. Fun-filled field trips and sporting activities. Grammy a break. Enroll your child into Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp. 3-224-223. That's 3-224-223.
I'm Wayne Monroe. It has come to my attention that some parts of the No campaign are saying that I am voting no on the 4 bills and urging others also to vote no. This is to take some of my old comments completely out of context. This is categorically untrue. Having read the 4 bills, I'm satisfied that the provisions made by the first 3 bills cannot be made with the same effect by ordinary acts of Parliament. I believe in supporting my own, so I support Bills 1 to 3. I am also satisfied that because of Article 26(4)(c), Bill 4 would close the door to same-sex marriage in the Bahamas. I believe in the biblical definition of marriage, and because of that, I will be voting yes for Bill 4. If you also believe in traditional marriage, protect it by voting yes on Bill 4.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement from the Yes Vote campaign.
This is Ali McIntosh, the servant leader of the Bahamas Constitution Party. The purpose of a government is to safeguard the security of the future of the nation. And that's why I'm voting no to all 4 bills. And I'm inviting you to do the same. Protect our Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement from the Vote No campaign.
The kids are looking for snacks. The wife needs something to get a tough stain out of me. Well, I just want to grill some chicken this weekend. Time to head to Super Value and quality supermarkets for specials like Kraft macaroni and cheese, the 7 1/4 ounce box, $1.09. Rainbow corned beef, lean and meaty, the 12 ounce can, $1.97. Crystal bleach, the gallon size, 2 for $5. Boneless, skinless chicken thighs, $1.89 per pound. Idaho potatoes, the 5-pound bag, $1.99. Something for everyone. That's Super Value and quality supermarkets.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? C-File says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. C-File can get you started. Visit cfile.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. C-File. Seize your future.
The Constitution is incapable of discriminating. It's incapable. To speak in terms of the Constitution containing a discrimination which is aimed at women, it's nonsensical, in my respectful opinion.
He's out in left field. I would like Mr. Clinton to come and let him and I sit down.
Oh, I love it.
The Constitution does not so-called give rights. The Constitution is not that kind of a document. I mean, this business of looking to the Constitution for rights, no, not at all.
It's not about rights. It's all about rights. There's a whole section on fundamental rights. I would like to ask what he means by it's not about rights.
Many of the so-called rights that are being attempted to be conferred here in one way or the other could have been done by ordinary legislation.
Wow.
The Constitution is the supreme law. To the extent that ordinary law is inconsistent with the Constitution, the ordinary law is void. So let's talk about out in left field and what is in the box and what is not in the box. I welcome Mr. Clinton.
I'm going to get Clinton here, and we're going to take up that challenge and organize that.
All right.
That only exclusively on Peace, okay? On hard copy. We'll do that. Because if it's 5 o'clock, it's hard copy. Well, we all look forward to that. Certainly, we all look forward to it. I would say we all look forward to what can be the big showdown sometime in this particular debate. But today, we've got other fish to fry. You've heard from just about all sides on the upcoming referendum, June the 7th, 2016. Well, today on Hard Copy, as an equal opportunity provider, we are hosting the proponents of the yes votes. And have you been studying the 4 questions for the referendum based on the compendium of 4 bills passed in both the lower and upper houses of Parliament a month or so ago? Have you? Have you been a part of the Yes Votes education campaign across the country the past few weeks? And have you benefited? Well, this evening we are pleased to ensure that you hear from the co-executive directors of the Yes Vote Committee, Attorney Cheryl Bazard and Heather Hunt are with me. Both professional ladies have served in the Honorable Senate of the Bahamas, Ms. Bazard with the Progressive Liberal Party at one time, and Mrs. Hunt with the Free National Movement. However, they are a unified team on what is being termed gender equality bills. Ladies, we're pleased to have you both. Thank you for coming. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Now, we're going to cut straight through the chase because I am listening, ladies. I am listening with keen ears today. As like the Bahamian public at large, I wish to hear your heart and soul convictions on why the nation should buy into this yes vote crusade. I want to hear your heart and soul.
Well, Steve, for me, it is a fundamental matter of correcting a inequality and a clear really distinction as to how men and women in this country are allowed to transmit citizenship or effect the transfer of citizenship to their children and to their spouses. When you pull up the black and white letter of the law, Steve, I don't see where there can be any doubt that the word woman or the term female is missing. I don't think there can be any doubt that a single mother is construed under the law as both the father and the mother of a child, meaning that you're discriminating against a single father and his right to transmit citizenship. So after 43 years, in my respectful view, and I believe this to my core, we have now been given an opportunity to correct this deficiency. And I am here because I believe that it's time to do that. And I don't believe that we need to let another opportunity pass where the Bahamian people have the chance to correct this clear discrepancy. That's why I am here. And that is why I'm advocating for a yes vote on all the 4 bills.
Understood. So you believe that there's some discrepancies. And I suppose, Mrs. Bazard, you share the same view, or you have a different perspective as to why. And as I'm trying to hear your heart and soul, why should we be even considering this yes vote? All things considered, I know that you've been working on it, but today I expect that you are going to try your best to convince not only me, who may be a doubting Thomas, and I said that for all intents and purposes to keep my neutrality, but there are many people out there who are saying, well, why should I vote yes?
Yeah, I agree with Heather, and that we are at a point in our nation's history where we have to make a choice as to how we will move. I think our motto commands the trajectory in which the Bahamas should move forward, upward, onward, together. We're hoping that this vote will bring us together as a people to understand what exactly is being affected here. And of course, it is rights. It's under the fundamental rights of an individual, whether Bahamian or not, any human being. And also it is now correcting those rights. If the framers of the Constitution would say that, yeah, we got it wrong at the time of the signing of that or the acceptance of the Constitution, bearing in mind that the Constitution is really a schedule to an order that was passed by the British Parliament, then we have to say, are we at the point in our lives as citizens of the Bahamas that we now want to direct our own path as a nation?
Now, of course, there are many who share a different view completely, that the Constitution need not be touched, need no adjustment, that the Constitution is not a document that discriminates. They believe that the Constitution is equal to all individuals, especially based on the various articles that's in the Constitution. I heard Heather earlier say that, because of this apparent inequality, there's no mention of women. I understand that, but the Constitution still, in many individuals' view, does not discriminate when it comes to what the intention of the Constitution is. And certainly they're talking about everyone being equal under the Constitution, being able to have fundamental rights. And there's everything that covers, especially in Article 15 of the Constitution, it covers everything. So how do you suppose that you're going to convince people that there's this inequality when people, and I'm sure you've heard it, they're all around, they say, look, women are equal, perhaps even more equal than men. Now, they may be looking at a professional thing, they may be looking at schooling. I don't know how you perceive what they're looking at, but most people are of the view that women are very much equal. It is just that don't equate equality with sameness. There's a difference in roles of this whole thing. So how do you respond to that, especially that there is a view out there that sticks out bigger than anything else? That, boy, they're talking really nonsense when it comes to this thing about equality. Everybody's equal.
Yeah, well, I hear you.
Constitution.
But if I were to walk into the studio this afternoon, Steve, and I gave your producer a bottle of water because he's wearing a gray shirt. And I said, well, no, Steve, not for you because you're wearing a brown shirt. Regardless of the fact you say we're here, we're equal, we're all a part of peace. The fact is I gave him something that you couldn't get. And I just did it on the basis that you were wearing something different.
Well,
let me just finish though. And so what it is that we are clothed in male or female. And because of that clothing, certain things are not available to one or the other. And when you go through the bills and you look at the fact that a Bahamian male, a single father, cannot pass on his citizenship to his child, that's something that's being denied a Bahamian citizen, a male. So this isn't just about a women's rights. It's about for both men and women. This is sons and daughters. This is future generations. And so that is where we say the inequality is. You cannot look at just positions. Yes, women have risen to great positions in the country. But when that is not secured by the supreme law of a country, you cannot then say that we are equal. Some people say leave it to a government to then decide to pass ordinary legislation to fix the problem. But then that leaves also the opening that some other government could repeal or amend or change. Why do we want to leave it there rather than entrench it into a constitution that by itself, by Article 2 of the Constitution, is the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Why not entrench it there and we know that it is secured for both male and female?
Yeah, I hear your argument, but I want to back up a little bit and remind you, I'm not of the view, and this is not to be argumentative, this is to really bear out your point if there's a point that can be pull out of this to the favor of the yes vote. We are of a Christian Judeo tradition. That's why the Constitution was written. That's how the Constitution was set up with its preamble. It's based upon the Christian Judeo values. And so we talk about, divine respect for God and for the law and order and all this about the actual fact of the matter that we believe in the supremacy of God and, of course, in Christian values and principles. Now, those things were done by the forefathers in the 70s to protect what they saw, the future of this country, and that would serve this country well even now. We're looking one generation out that we are getting ready to put our hands on the Constitution and change things around. It's just a generation out. Now, there are some who believe that the forefathers made a mistake. I put to you today, Ms. Bazard and Ms. Hunt, the forefathers made no mistake. These things were done to keep within the tradition of the Christian Judeo value system, which we, in this particular time in 2016, 2014, 2015, 2013, sought to change the Constitution. We sought to get away from the preamble. That would have changed the whole spirit and the complexion of the Constitution, the whole intent. And as a result of that, a lot of these ideas that are now being put on the table, I put to you, as many have put to me, have been done because we are really getting away from those traditional values, and we saw it by indication of those in the Constitutional Commission wanting to change, move away the preamble. It didn't happen.
Right.
Of course, it didn't happen. But I'm saying a lot of these things that have come along since that time has been done with a viewpoint that we are perhaps intellectually ignoring what the preamble is talking about, and thus we have this phenomena, I call it now, where you're talking about the single male passing on his thing. That is because the man has always been seen to be the leader in a family structure, in a God-centered family structure. And as a result of that, everything falls in line with it. That's one of the reasons why there's Article 10 that allows for the Bahamian man to pass on his citizenship to his foreign wife, should he take one. That is why it's there, because the man has been looked upon not from a position of discrimination or inequality, but he has been seen to be the person who is the leader of the family. And so as a result of that, you have what we have in the Constitution. Now you're telling me we're seeking to change that. What's the premise? Who is deciding that this is why this should happen?
Well, just to deal with your first point in terms of the preamble and moving away from Christian Judeo values, these four bills, in my opinion, have nothing to do with a move away from Christian Judeo values. I see nothing that threaten the preamble.
No, I was just making the point that there was a move to move that out.
Right. Well, whether there was a move or not, my thing is, at this point, what we're dealing with today with the four bills is not a movement away from the Christian Judeo values. Okay. I mean, if we talk about Christian Judeo values, yeah, I am sure, because the fact is, when God created, he created male and female created he them. And then he pulled Eve out of Adam. I don't want to go down that road because, I mean, there are us who have that. No, but I want to stay here to the legal question before us and the constitutional issue before us. And so I do not think that there's any movement away from. There's nothing here that threatens a Christian Judeo perspective. The first bill deals with a married woman who's married to a foreign man, Bahamian married woman, who cannot give her citizenship to a child if the child is born abroad. The second bill is dealing with a Bahamian woman married to a foreign man being able to pass on a citizenship that the male will then be entitled to apply, not automatic. The third is the male, the single male, being able to pass on his citizenship. And the fourth being that there is no discrimination, no discrepancies between male and female with the respect to Parliament passing laws that would discriminate. So in my estimation, there's nothing that moves us away from our Christian values.
No, and we always reiterate, Steve, everywhere where we go. Okay, this has to do with the Constitution, and it has to do with the black and white supreme law of the land. We are not in your house. We are not in your church. We are not in your organizations with respect to upsetting the apple cart. Okay, how you and your husband. I guess how husbands and wives, let me tell you and your husband, but how husbands and wives relate to one another, your value system. We are not here to upset that. And Steve, what we're doing here is not moving away. Maybe the question should be asked in a more broader context as a nation. Entirely are we, what are we doing as far as, cultural values are concerned? But that has nothing to do with what these four questions are about. So again, we're not speaking about moral law, spiritual law. We're talking about that one document that governs the whole Bahamas, and it's a supreme law. And we're asking the question 43 years later, can it just possibly be, Steve, that it is time to revise it? I mean, is it just possible that what the thinking was 43 years ago may just no longer be right and fair? And so now that we have an opportunity to correct it, that is what we're seeking to do. Is it just possible that it's nothing more than just that? And we say that that's what it is, nothing more than correcting what is, in our view, a clear discrepancy. Although there may have been the reasons for it 43 years ago, we're saying that in 2016 the reasons are no longer there, and we're trying to fix it.
Let me say this to both of you and see how you respond to this. Who says it needs correcting? You said correction. I hear you, and I'm just going to challenge you on it. Who says it needs correction? And if it needs correction, who was the persons who came up with this idea that it needed correction? Was it the Bahamian people? Did the Bahamian people ask the government or anybody to go and correct the Constitution because suddenly they had an epiphany that something's wrong, we need to change this? Whose idea is this to change something that no one asks in the body public to be changed?
Well, Steve, no, I don't think it. Well, I wouldn't say no one. I would answer you like this. In this country, we have been talking about constitutional reform at least 16 years. This is not new. Okay, we've had successive governments, and I say at least 16. I'm the youngest one, so I probably could be corrected, but I'm talking about my memory span. At least 16 years, and successive governments. Well, 14 years was the last referendum, but it would have started before then. Right. So successive governments have appointed constitutional commission after commission, and we've had report after report. This is not the first commission, and this is not the first report. And so we have been talking in this country about what needs to be changed in this document called the Constitution. Now, this most recent constitutional report gave over 70 recommendations, and among those recommendations were these for the equality and the removal of the discrimination of between how women and men transmit their citizenship. So this came out of consultation, successive governments. It's not a brand new concept. And so it's not that you can say, well, who asked for it? This is a result of consultative process, like I said, that's over 15 years in the making.
I see.
So we knew that is coming and was proposed by this commission and previous commissions to have the amendments put forward. I always say to persons, what we are involved in and what I hope will continue even after this exercise, Steve, is a group of persons just to continue to speak about the holistic process of the constitutional reform. This is just the first step in a journey. This is what this government of the day has put forward as the first round, so to speak. But the next government and successive governments will have to also put forward proposals as to what they will put to the people for constitutional referendum. So I don't think it's really correct to say who, like there's one particular brainchild or one person who had to wake up and decide this needs to be done. Also, I want to say that it's definitely not from an external force, because you hear the idea repeated over and over that there's some big brother with a stick on the outside of the Bahamas forcing us to do this referendum.
We're doing this of our own volition.
Absolutely, Steve. It's been born out of a 15 plus year process, and it has now come back to us again. So we shouldn't act surprised at this. We know that this is at least 15 years in the making, and now it's the time, in our view, to get it done.
Ms. Bazard, you had made mention earlier when we started this discourse about the fact that some people may say that you can just put it into the hands of the parliamentarians because the Constitution gives them the right to go to Parliament and do some things. But you says that can be challenged and changed by a future government or a future parliament, a group of parliamentarians, and that's a no can do as far as I suppose your committee is concerned. You don't want that to happen.
No.
You want to see it enshrined in the Constitution. Now, I want to ask you though, but
because it is more protected there, Steve, to go into the process.
Yeah.
You have to get the.
But you do admit that it can be done. You know it can be done through the Parliament.
There is a line of legal argument that says, yes, it can be done through Parliament, but it's just.
What do you mean line of legal argument? That can be done through Parliament.
Yes, well, we have both. I mean, there's the way I say it, maybe not the way you want me to say it, but it's the way that I'm saying it.
No, it's not what I want, Cheryl. I'm saying you're saying there's a line as if,
there are some who
there's a
say
view
it and
that-
there are some who disagree, but I'm
Okay,
just saying.
but they can be done through the Parliament. We
through
know
the
that.
Parliament,
Okay,
and then, but
fantastic.
it can also be amended by Parliament based on Parliament.
Mhm.
Why do we want to leave that in their hands? This is something that I think should be issue that the people of the Bahamas decide.
You think this is a progressive step at this particular time? Obviously, I want to ask you now, and don't take this personal. This is a part of what people are wanting to know. Mhm. Do you both believe in this yes vote with your heart and soul now?
Yes,
You do.
I do.
You do, Heather.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, in 2002, and I repeat it and I say it over and over again,
Mhm.
I walked the streets day and night, chafing my tennis, knocking door to door for vote yes. Absolutely nothing in principle has changed in 2002 to now. So if I believed in it so strongly then,
Mhm.
you please tell me 14 years later, as a matter of principle now, putting all the other things on the side,
All the politics
what
aside.
has changed as a matter of principle between 2002 to now? So if I could go beat the pavement in 2002, then I could sure do it in 2016 in the way that I'm doing it now.
I want to ask you this. You've both been appointed. Am I right?
As co-executive directors, yes.
Okay. Are your services for free or are you paid for this?
No, our services are not for free. I mean,
You're paid for this.
Yes,
That's
we
fine.
are.
I'm just asking.
No, we're being transparent.
Yeah.
That is what is called upon us as public persons.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we are being paid because we are on this job 24 hours a day.
And how would you say the Yes campaign has been going when you look at the fact that you are here today to, I suppose, rally the troops, if you can, to get the movement going? How has the Yes Vote campaign really been going from your perspective? Both of you. I want to find out, because what I'm gathering is that, and I'm gathering this from not only what BJ Knowledge had to say, the man in charge of the elections, but he had said earlier last week that, that it seems as if this no vote campaign has gotten the momentum. I've been seeing that in recent times even more. I saw Ruby Ann Knowledge, Justice Ruby Knowledge,
yes,
in the newspapers today, Heather, and of course Cheryl, talking about that she went down to Grand Bahama and, she had told the sorority sisters there, I think it was, that, a lot of things have not been going good as far as, and I'm paraphrasing here, as far as the Yes Vote campaign is concerned, because this is the undertaking of how the government had done some things, I suppose, that would have kind of discolored people's appetite toward it.
Right.
And so I'm just saying, I've been getting that there's not been this kind of a overwhelming support of, yes, we are on the righteous cause. This is the way to go, and people are really embracing this. How has it been going, this Yes Vote campaign?
We have visited 5 islands: New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Exuma, Long Island, Cat Island. And I can tell you that once on the ground and once providing information and having discussions, that it has caught fire on those islands. Yes, we have a number of other issues that surround the discussion, but are extraneous to the discussion, but we deal with them. No one is shying away from issues that might be in the face of this campaign. And the one you refer to is in terms of the gaming referendum, where persons are of the view that, well, the government didn't listen to me then, why will they listen to me now? And we have to explain, well, that was a consultative referendum. This is a constitutional referendum, and therefore the government is bound by the voting of the people.
This we know, yes.
And so it's just a matter, and some people didn't know that, Steve. And so that's why we feel it's so important in terms of, before even a yes campaign, it's a, can I tell you, it's an educational campaign, and not one that is condescending, but one just that people, because of the hype and the fear that is being, said out there, people are saying, well, this is what I know, this is what I'm hearing. But after you have the discussion, persons say, okay, fine, and we're going, and it's a spark, and it's catching fire. It's a sisterhood, brotherhood that's running through the islands, because we have both male and female co-chairs in the various islands, and we're giving them the support as much as they need. Now, all of us can't be at the same place at one time. We wish we could clone each other, but the fact is we're getting that, and they are acting on the ground as our agents and moving forward to educate.
So
and
if
to
you
bring
were
the
to
yes vote.
if you were to give us a synopsis as the rate of success of your yes you would say that you are out front of this particular vote? That's what I'm trying to determine.
Well, I couldn't say whether we're out front where we are. I just know that we have had persons who were staunch no, but after the discussion, they are staunch yes. And that is what I see as success. So I'm not managing the numbers of what the no is doing. I'm focused on my yes message and the yes campaign. So I'm not paying that attention to the no campaign. I know they exist, but I'm not paying attention to that.
What about you, Heather? How has it been from your perspective that this yes vote is gaining traction, or it's just floundering?
I think so, Steve, and we see it day by day. We beat the ground everywhere we go. No matter where we go. I mean, as simple as getting your hair cut or your nails done, and someone says something and you end up having that one-on-one conversation. My mother may even kill me for telling this story, but she had a certain position, and I wouldn't say which bills. And finally yesterday, she said, well, Heather, explain this particular thing to me. And I see it right in my house where I couldn't even, don't talk to me about it. I don't want to hear it. This is what I'm doing on that. And yesterday the light bulb went on and said, maybe I should at least listen. And that is what I experience everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, even if persons don't agree with you 100%, by the time we're ending a conversation, I would have gained some ground, at least with respect to 2 or 3 of the bills. And I find that a success. And, we still have lots more, well, not lots, but we still have quite a few days left. So we're going to be at it every single day.
Now, earlier when I talked about this, I wasn't really talking even about the gambling referendum. What I was dealing with is basically looking at this fact that there have been a lot of people on the social media and all over the place in barbershops like you go, I go there too. And we've been getting an overwhelming response of they voting no straight across the board. Now that could be emotional, but that's what people have been saying. We use that as a yardstick. Personally, I've not gotten anybody who's been telling me yes. And somebody said, well, you ain't getting nobody yes because, you haven't told anybody where to vote, or I haven't taken a position on it publicly to say vote yes or vote no.
Right.
But certainly a lot of celebrities have taken a position in telling people where to vote. And so as a result of that, I'm wondering if the celebrities, that celebrity styling that you have with your yes vote campaign, I'm not blaming you.
No, I'm trying to figure out who the celebrities are.
I can tell you, I'm going to tell you.
Because we have used the common everyday man who is
the celebrities
this.
are Bishop Gomez, Bishop Lace Boyd, Bishop Neil Ellis. These are celebrities. William Thompson, they're celebrities. So the 2 Governor Generals, Sir Arthur Folkes, and of course the former GG Turnquest. These are celebrities. Wayne Monroe. These are celebrities in the local aspect of what I'm talking about. Now, I could either call them celebrities, or I could call them the big shot.
They even like
people.
The word celebrities.
Well, they are.
Shot. I think what they have done as responsible citizens is that they've come forward. They've been exposed to certain aspects of it. When you talk about the former governors general in the persons of Sir Arthur Folkes and Sir Orville Turnquest, these are persons who have been there in the first generation, who know why, the whys and the wherefore as to how the document would have been crafted. And they now have their views on it as to what they have seen all these 43 years.
And this has not been solicited. This is just voluntary.
Yeah, these are persons volunteering and coming forward and saying, as a citizen, I am coming forward to tell my story. They are not paid. They don't see themselves as celebrities from the conversations that we've had with them. But they feel within themselves that this is the right thing to do. And therefore, they've stood solidly behind the Yes campaign. So I don't see them as celebrities. I see them as persons who have a sense of responsibility and a level of importance within the local community to say something. And I mean, it goes to, I can call you a celebrity, Steve, and it depends on how you see it. But I see them as responsible people who have said, listen, I'm telling you my heart and why. And this is why I'm voting yes.
Well, I can say celebrity, I can say elites, I can say authorities, I can say high clergy. I use celebrity to meet you in the middle of the road, just so that you would know that.
Okay.
The other thing is this, that as we talk about this, Heather Hunt and of course Cheryl Bazard, how do you what kind of feedback have you gotten? See, one of the points that Justice Ruby Knowledge got, and I know she's been out there doing a lot of stuff. One of the things that she got, and I read this morning in the newspaper, just looking through the paper, I saw where one of the responses that she got was that, as a result of the government doing certain things, and this is not your fault, so don't get me wrong, that they did not appear to be fair play, equal when it comes to the funding of these particular campaigns. The yes vote is doing their thing based upon the monies and whatever else they would have raised, I suppose, to go about and do their business. And there's nothing wrong with that. The government ought to, in fact, in my view, give out monies to the people who are pushing on a campaign as important as this. This is a landmark campaign. This is a landmark referendum. But at the same time, they ought to have appeared to be fair and equal. This is my view, and I'm not asking you to comment on them. I'm just asking you this question. They ought to have been fair and balanced in the distribution of funds so that people can get a understanding. Long Island was making noise about it in the town meeting down there that, you all expect things, not you all, but the committee expect things to happen, and you didn't fund, you weren't fair about this whole money. Ruby Knowledge had been making the same statement that this seemed to have been a bad spoke in the wheel for the trajectory, for the progress, for the movement of the yes vote campaign. And I'm just wondering, what say you to educated, intellectual, wonderful young Bahamian women who are the future leaders of this country? Is that something that has been a kind of holdback in your minds, that this could also affect the yes vote just because it doesn't seem to be fair and balanced, that everybody got an equal chance? Because all of us are taxpayers. There's some who are paying, and there's some who are getting the support through the yes vote. That's their thing. They want to be yes. But there are also others who want to say no. It's not been fair. Do you think, my question to you is this, do you think that that has had any impact whatsoever upon what you all are doing with the response of the Bahamian public when you go there to talk to them?
What I think, Steve, and I'll go back to what you said earlier. You said that you've been hearing no, 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 no. So the message is not lost. The government took a position as to whether it's going to fund the no campaign or which no campaign. Then the other thing is that it was no secret when these bills were passed that it was stated in the House of Assembly and otherwise that there will be a campaign of such great magnitude on this to push the yes vote. Remember now, let's use this against the backdrop that this is an agreement between both parties within the House of Assembly. So as you see it, both—
This is an agreement.
Well, I mean, all voted yes. So when I say an
there's
agreement,
unanimity, I agree with that.
yeah, when I say an agreement, I mean all had for it to pass. It was unanimous in the Senate, and it was majority in the House of Assembly for it to then come to the people to vote. So the message that I would get, Mr. Joe Public, was that you agreed that this is something that we want pushed forward. Okay.
Well, listen, I don't get that message. Not to cut you off, I'm just to engage you here. Mr. Perry Glaston Christie, who is a very, very clever and very, very talented politician, without question, and most experienced among all of his peers in that House of Assembly, he, in fact, was able to do something quite remarkable to get unanimity for the most part on the opposition side as well as the governing side. That was, and I said this on my show over and over, that was a clever, a clever and slick move. I use those words. But more clever than anything untoward. But I believe, Ms. Bazard, excuse me, I believe that Mr. Christie had anticipated exactly where we are now. And that move of unanimity with the opposition in particular has neutralized them, has nullified them. They are of no effect. They have almost betrayed the Bahamian people by taking such a position. And even though Ingram in 2002 did the same thing to get them all to do it, they turned around, the PLP government, and did something else on the campaign outside the House. But, let sleeping dogs lie for a moment.
Yeah,
let's concentrate on Christie. When he did what he did, Ms. Bazard, he would have been able to effectively neutralize the opposition. And that has a lot of implications going down the road, even on this particular vote. Because here it is, when he decided, or his cabinet or whomever decided that there would be funding for the yes, I don't believe that ministers and those bought into that there would be funding only for the yes and nothing for the no, because they all decided to vote yes. because that cannot be fair. And if that is what it is, then we are really in trouble. And that's just my statement. That's an aside. We are really in trouble if that's it. Because here it is, both ladies here. The Bahamian people feel betrayed that there's no one looking out for those who, in fact, are saying no, when in fact it should have been like a no-brainer. Give everybody $2, let them go with the business, and who wins, wins. Now, of course, the government has already said they're supporting the yes vote. I can't blame them. They are giving the monies to the yes vote people, but there's none for the no vote people. Let me just tell you as an aside, on this show today that is sponsored by the Yes Vote campaign, the people out there who have been so unimpressed with what has happened, not from your point of view now, but from the government's point, the governance of this whole matter, they went out, scrap up some change, and came here and bought ads just to balance things out from a perception point of view. I thought I commend them because, you know, we didn't go and sell any ads. They came to do that. I don't know if they did on the other station, but that's what they did. There's a reason for that, because they feel as if the yes vote has all this push with all the money, and there's no one looking out for the average fella. You are both attorneys. You are both wonderful parliamentarians. I've followed you both in the chair. And of course, certain people there know that they're my favorite people. All right. So I'm saying
the one that's smiling the broadest.
And I have the greatest respect for you, as I've said on previous shows. See? But one would think that there should be, as noted attorneys, as I mean, you know, it cannot be that you are telling me that you find that to be okay. That's what I guess I'm trying to ask you. Is that okay?
Mr. McKinney, yeah, without saying, no one said it's okay. That's not the words coming out of, well, my mouth as such. What has happened is that the government has made a decision that is outside of the purview of the Yes Committee.
Yeah, but
I leave it at the feet. No, let me finish. I leave it at the feet of the government, and they should be called upon to answer to what and why they took the position they took. That is not before me. As a Yes Committee, we move on. The government should be called to answer it. And I'm not trying to abscond from any duties.
These are your people who you say that you want to see equality for. These are the same men, sons and daughters that you say that you want to see equality for. So I'm asking you, and I'm asking Heather, as a professional attorney, an intellectual, beautiful woman you are, very talented, a Bahamian by heart. I know you are, and I know Heather is. Does that rest well with you as an individual?
Well, let me tell you how I think about it, okay? This is the second time that we've had a constitutional referendum in the country. The first time in 2002, it was an all-out political campaign. We didn't have the questions of funding because it was obvious that the red shirts and the yellow shirts came out and did what they had to do as political parties. Now, my question at that point, looking back, is that the way it really should have been? No. So we didn't have a funding issue then because it was
driven by
politics. So now we are here in 2016. The government intended not to be political, and so if it's not being politically driven, then it's being driven by the public purse or the government-funded initiative. So this is the first time that this matter has been dealt with this way. The only other time it was dealt with politically. So this is the first time.
This is really an anomaly.
It is a test.
Because see, if it is the government's purse, Heather Hunt, right? The government's purse is paid by everybody. Me, you, man, woman, boy, girl, straight, gay, everybody pays the government purse. All right. So if we're not talking, and see, this is to me.
See, this is what I'm saying, though. This is the test. So the government of the Bahamas has taken a position with respect to this test, and it is open for other persons who do not believe that that's the right decision to take a certain course, Mr. McKinney.
Yeah, but how can they take a course, Mrs. Hunt, when in fact the official opposition of this country has been neutralized, nullified from doing anything, just because they've hitched their train to that of the government in a spirit of trying to bring about unanimity and all of us be together as one people? We still have a divide. We still have this thing where the funding has not been done to really give this a good balance. And I know it is not your thing, but I just have to draw it out.
No,
I know it's not your position, your prerogative to speak to that, but you have to understand the entire nation listens to us. They love Cheryl Bazard. I never heard anybody tell me anything terrible about Cheryl Bazard, except that she's a beautiful lady who can be aggressive, and she's very bright and brilliant. I've never heard anybody tell me anything bad about Heather Hunt, except that she's beautiful and she's a nice person, and she wants to help to run this country. And you both have sat in the Senate. So I credit you with that. Understand what I'm saying here.
Right.
When I ask that question, you see, sometimes the people who are in charge of things must be the ones to hear from those out there who are proponents of a particular campaign, say to them on uncertain terms, maybe they could have looked at it different. And that could be a kind of a, I suppose, consolation in some way. But at the same time, being cognizant that we are all behemoths after one thing. We say that we want equality. We say that we want it to be fair. We say it's for our sons and daughters. But the people who are marshaling the thing has decided that kisses go by favor. It's not going to be fair. How do you want me to be sold? But how do you, Heather, how do you want me to be sold? Cheryl, how do you want me to be sold on this yes vote when I feel as if my brothers and sisters have been left out?
But see, Steve, that's precisely my point. If the matter would have been taken to the government of the Bahamas, okay? The government of the Bahamas openly declared its support for yes based on the almost unanimous passage of these bills in the House of Assembly.
Yeah, but these guys,
let me get it.
Heather, I'm sorry, Heather. These people have not gone to their home constituencies. Let us be clear. Christie didn't go to Hayes. Minnis didn't go to Hayes. These parliamentarians, as you put it, did not. The only people who get the exception is the Senate, where you all would have sat, and you weren't there for that. But the Senate, because they would have looked at what the lower house did. I understand that. But at the same time, we know members of parliament went nowhere close to their constituencies, did any roundup, they did nothing. They just went and vote by the whip being on and this appeal from Mr. Christie that we should, have unanimity on it. And I understand that. But I don't want it just to say that what the people as the representatives did in the House is reflective of the people, because these people talk to me every day. I'm doing talk radio. They tell me all their business all night and all day. Okay.
We're not sweeping it
the
under
people,
the rug, though,
the people
Mr.
never went
McKinney.
there. I
What it
understand.
is that what we're saying is that the points were put to the government.
Mhm.
There were differing opinions saying yes. Some were saying yes, you should have funded the no. Some said, well, no, you advocating yes, so why fund someone who is coming against you?
And who do you
they
fund?
took that under consideration.
who do you
and,
fund?
and the thing is, who is the official opposition in this? Who is the official no?
Yeah,
and so that's another thing as well. Who do you give the monies to? Because if I pop up today and say, well, I'm a no vote and I have X numbers of persons and I want to be funded too, my voice should be heard too. Where does it stop?
Yeah.
And so that is one of the, those were some of the arguments that were placed, and they came to that decision.
Well, listen, no one even suggested, and I hear your point, and I take your point.
Right.
It's not a bad point, but I also want to put this point on the table. There have been very responsible men in this country who have advocated no. Maybe not straight across the board, but have advocated a negative on the 4 competitive bills. They're preachers. They're trusted men.
Only on one.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying.
Vote your conscience on 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
and
but
no
I'm
on
saying,
4.
yeah,
Right.
okay, fine. Now, they are brothers and sisters. They are sons and daughters. They are preachers. You mean to tell me that as leaders in this country can say, okay, since you say that there's some should be some people who should get funding for the no vote, can we organize you all? Can you all be organized? And this is a group that we will give to so that the whole thing can be processed. See, that's a small problem, but I hear you. It's a problem that could have been easily rectified.
Right.
Let's move on. There's a problem here that I see, Ms. Bazard and Ms. Hunt, on this matter. It goes beyond not voting, not giving these people any money for a no vote. It goes to this and help me to understand this. On the day of the vote, one vote is on the 31st with the policeman. Parliamentary commissioner will be doing that. What happens on the 7th of June when we are used to, remember we talked about an anomaly? This never happened before. We're used to somebody being there to man the polls to assure us of the honesty of the vote, to take an objective view that, this didn't go wrong, we're going to report this, that kind of thing. I don't know if we have that, because the parliamentary commissioner, I believe, has just recently given indication that an opposition party, that is the Bahamas Constitution Party, who would have taken leave to man the polls on behalf of the people to see that, no, really, that can't happen, that only the official opposition and the governing party can man the polls. Now, that brings us to another quagmire, because if the official opposition is in bed altogether unanimous on these particular bills, where's the objectivity in them having any thing to say at the polls. So are we going, ladies, to the poll with nobody knowing how pristine, how honest this vote is? If there's any objections to be raised, who are we to look to? We, the poor people of the Bahamas. You both are lawyers. Help me, because this is where I dumb.
No, well, Mr. McKinney, just as a regular election, okay, there are provision for agents to be in every
agents of what?
Every
Churches?
polling station.
Agents of civil society? Agents of what?
Well,
political parties.
Yes, agents of political parties in the general election, but in the referendum, agents of the proponents and agents of the opponents are permitted to be in.
Yeah, but I hear you. But who are the opponents? The proponents we know. You all are the proponents of the yes vote. I expect to see you all there trying to make sure that this thing is honest. That's important.
And so the opponents, if they so desire, have the equal opportunity to mobilize themselves.
Help me to understand who the opponents are.
Those who are organized the Vote No campaign.
Yeah, but
McKinney.
But they've not been recognized, Cheryl Bazard. If they've not been recognized by getting any monies, who is to recognize them? Who's to recognize them at the polls?
Funded, but they have been recognized. There's no question.
Well, if
you were to ask a Bahamian on the street, who are the proponents of a no vote?
Yeah, that's the Bahamians on the street.
What about anybody, anyone who's involved in this electoral process as it relates to the constitutional referendum? If you were to ask who are the proponents of the no vote, that you will get an answer. No one will look at you and say, Mr. McKinney, I really don't know at this particular point. You spoke about the pastors. And there are others who have come out publicly and stated without any reserve that I am voting no. Just before walking into the studio, we heard Ali McIntosh say that. And I mean, and that's a whole party. That's an entire party.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to go to the polls.
Well, I haven't heard the
I've already got that
commissioner
information.
say that. So we would need to have him on the show to say if that is correct or not. But as my understanding of it is that the proponents of no would be identified, and agents of both sides, yes and no, will be at the polls to ensure that this is a fair process.
Well, that's what we have to do. We have to ensure it's fair.
Yes.
And it must seem to be fair.
Of course.
Justice must seem to be done.
That's right.
And
not only be done,
and
but seem to be done.
when we come back here this afternoon on Hard Copy with both Cheryl Bazard and Heather Hunt, we are going to take a look at some other aspects of this upcoming poll. The yes vote, people are here, they're drumming up support, and you can feel free anytime to tell them, go vote yes. That's up to you. I have you here because I want to be fair. We are equal opportunity providers. And so as a result of that, we have you on the show. We want to hear what you have to say. And so don't mind me. I'm just asking one or two questions. I'll be more quiet, I suppose, and let you all talk a little bit more about what the whole deal is. But I've got to ask you about these scales of justice. I got to find out who determined that. I got to find out about who determined the gate for no and the scales of justice for yes. And I got to explore that, because to me, I'm suspicious of that. And that's just me. People may be fine with it, but I know already. They called me last week and told me that they're very suspicious of it when the announcement was made by Dr. Bernard Knowledge, who's in charge of these kinds of elections. So
why are you suspicious?
We're going to
talk
come
back and talk about that.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when we come back here this evening on Hard Copy. 9 minutes behind the hour, 6 o'clock. Cheryl Bazard is with me, and Heather Hunt with me. And Heather, are you too cold inside? We're going to turn that thing up, right? You're used to heat, I know. Anyway, we're running to the break. We're going to run to the break. This is Hard Copy.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, heat and cooling water pumps, generators and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
Executive Printers. We're professionals. At Executive Printers, we do not participate in trash talk. We concern ourselves with the accuracy and security of your laser check. That is why we put 15 securities on your laser checks. This is not trash. This is fact. It makes fraud almost impossible. Call us today at Executive Printers at 393-5011 or email us at sales@epbahamas.com. That's sales@epbahamas.com. Executive Printers. Laser checks. We do them right.
Commonwealth Bank, the leader in personal banking services, is giving you more convenient, reliable, and personal banking solutions. And now, full-service Saturday banking at its Wolf Road branch. That's right, 7 Saturday banking locations to better serve you. Commonwealth Bank Plaza branch, Mackey Street, Oaksfield branch, Prince Charles Drive branch, Golden Gates branch, the Mall Drive branch, Freeport Grand Bahama, and now Wolf Road branch. Commonwealth Bank is open 6 days a week to better serve you, and every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
My house is full of picky eaters. This one don't like this, that one only like that. And of course, my wife changes her mind every week. Thank goodness I can find it all at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs, the 15-ounce can, $1.09. Seabass tuna, the 5-ounce can, 85 cents. Niagara Spray Starch, the 20-ounce size, $2.29. Boneless, skinless chicken thighs, $1.89 per pound. Idaho potatoes, the 5-pound bag, $1.99. No matter their taste, find it all at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
I'm Wayne Monroe. It has come to my attention that some parts of the No campaign are saying that I am voting no on the 4 bills and urging others also to vote no. This is to take some of my old comments completely out of context. This is categorically untrue. Having read the 4 bills, I'm satisfied that the provisions made by the first 3 bills cannot be made with the same effect by ordinary acts of Parliament. I believe in supporting my own, so I support Bills 1 to 3. I am also satisfied that because of Article 26(4)(c), Bill 4 would close the door to same-sex marriage in the Bahamas. I believe in the biblical definition of marriage, and because of that, I will be voting yes for Bill 4. If you also believe in traditional marriage, protect it by voting yes on Bill 4.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement from the Yes Vote campaign.
The following is a paid advertisement for the No Vote campaign.
Why I vote no, I don't trust a word they say, cause they pull the same trick on us just the other day. They got their own agenda, y'all know just how they does go. They even believe in foreign first, so we vote no, we vote no. 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 We vote no, we vote no, we vote no.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement for the No Vote campaign.
Why you huffing and puffing so?
I had to put Junior jeans in the washer.
How putting a pair of jeans in the washer can have you puffing like this?
He was still in them.
Oh, you put him in them big boy.
How you know so good?
Only them big boy can handle that brand. What he do?
Ida Gibbs corner now. He called me, tell me come to the truck. When I go on, he sit up in the truck talking about he take Sean. Then he want take off his pants and give them to me. I tell him not a thing like that, and I turn around to go.
He was half-hearted.
Half? Then he could tell me that I is he wife, and I better wash he pants.
What you do then?
Oh, one hell come up in me. I turn around and I yank that out of that truck, and I ease him right into that big boy right over there.
I think you should take him out before the spin cycle, though. What you think?
I'm going for him right now.
Super Wash. That washes your presses, it cleans you, and entertains you 24/7.
The best insurance in town is Advantage Insurance on Collins Avenue. They are simply the best because they provide easy, affordable insurance rates for home, car, business, or whatever is valuable or important to you. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, is the fastest, most progressive insurance company in the Bahamas because they really take care of you by making insurance totally affordable. Call them now at 356-0285 or 6, or email them at info@advantagebahamas.com.
What are your travel plans this summer? The Ministry of Tourism invites you to visit one of our many unique family islands and explore the Bahamas like never before. Eleuthera, Exuma, San Salvador, and many more offer exciting vacation packages with affordable airfare, room rates, and exciting things to do. Andros, Bimini, Cat Island are to be considered too. This summer, do something different. Do something bold. Do something uniquely Bahamian. Travel to the Family Islands and rediscover the Bahamas. For more information, visit myoutisland.com.
Parents, there's no need for your kids to be bored this summer. Bring them to the best academic summer camp in town. Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp for kids. Young adults in primary, junior, and senior high school. Reinforcing what was taught in school. Maths, reading, language arts, and computers. Fun-filled field trips and sporting activities. Give Grammy a break. Enroll your child into Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp. 3-224-223. That's 3-224-223.
Let's go. Hey! Remember when Granny said by save some for a rainy day? Living for paycheck to paycheck, you live in the worst way. Plan your future goals with B.O.B. Your future is bright, bright, bright. And you can buy that car, save regularly. Your future's bright. And you can buy that house, save regularly. Your future's bright. I see you in your business. Yeah. Here's what you need to do. So a little reap a lot. Higher interest from B.O.B. Go B.O.B. your bank of solutions.
Mommy, what does comprehensive mean?
It's when you include everything, not just some things. Why?
I'm reading it on your Facebook page. Your friend Kalina has comprehensive health coverage.
Let me see that. Comprehensive health coverage that includes primary and specialist care, hospitalization, surgical services, overseas care, and rehabilitative services.
So they didn't leave anything out?
They sure didn't. Kalina really is my friend. Talk to Kalina about comprehensive health coverage that won't leave you exposed. Visit kalina.com or find us on Facebook.
When I fly with Sky. Sky Bahamas. When I fly with Sky. Sky Bahamas. The plane them spanking clean. The pilot's their voice red. They fly you out on time. They flight attendants red. Service is their passion. With you they take good care. Sip culture, yes, they'll get you there when I fly.
Fly with us to Fort Lauderdale or the beautiful Bahama Islands. Book today at 702-2600 or visit our website at skybahamas.net and experience Sky.
I enjoy hard copy. I just love it, the information. It's informative, relevant, and timely. I love it.
Welcome back. We're live today, and I've got Cheryl Bazard with me, noted attorney, and of course, she's been doing a fantastic job in her movement as an executive director to make sure that this yes vote can happen. Not very many people agree with Cheryl Bazard or Heather Hunt, but that's just the way it is. We have different strokes for different folks, and of course, Heather Hunt is also co-executive director. They are sitting in the grouping with Lady Sharon Wilson, who's a co-chairperson, and Lynn Holowesco. Of course, Lady Sharon Wilson is the president of the Senate present, and Lynn Holowesco is the former chairman of the Senate, president of the Senate, and quite interesting, like Heather and Ms. Bazard, you have a PLP and an F&M. And some people say, that's political, but I didn't say it. I'm just saying you have a PLP and an F&M. This is a good catch for Christie to show his completeness in his thought processes, to make sure that there's scholarship, to have people understand that this is nonpartisan and he's got unanimity in the parliament, outside the parliament, with the parliamentarians, as well as with committee members. And I think that's a good move. But then again, Christie's a smart politician. And unfortunately, there's nobody there to stop him because they can't think that far ahead. I say that, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Anyway, we've got Cheryl Bazard, as I said. We've got calls. 325-0235 or 6 is how you can get it today. 325-024243. 325-025253. My lines are open. You can call me. You can also text me, or you can send me a WhatsApp. 376-9234 is how you can get me. We welcome our friends from around the world on TuneIn Radio. Did I tell you that earlier today? Yes.
and on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com. Also on the cable top box 970, down in Anagua on Coast Radio, over in Andres on the big Splash Radio over there. Of course, Freeport, Grand Bahama, and all those places. They're listening. They're listening in Atlanta. We welcome you. California, we welcome you this afternoon. Our friends up there in Washington paying attention to this, and especially our friends in Atlanta who says the way that this vote goes is how the world will go. And not only that, that Atlanta, or do you say Atlanteans, are watching what happens in the Bahamas because they find themselves in such a position. You notice we didn't get to those 4 bills individually. We're going to get to those. And we're going to get to these signs and symbols. But there's a question that I have as I see the lines are lighting up. There's a question that I wanted to ask before I went to the break, and that was this. Given all that you've told me, Mrs. Bazard and Mrs. Hunt, on the yes votes, there is something that I have to ask you. Do you believe that this transgender scenario that was raised the other day, press conference, you know the story. Do you believe that that has had any impact upon those who in fact believe that the yes vote may have lost some momentum if they had it, and that has had any impact upon how people are thinking about voting yes, especially as it relates to Bill 4? We know the story there that some people believe that Bill 4 would not same-sex marriage. Do you believe that them coming out at this time to have their press conference and saying that they want rights and all that, and they should, they are Bahamians, they are citizens of this country, and it ain't my business what they call themselves, but the transgenders, as they say, they want rights. Do you believe, do you feel as if that have had any impact upon your ambition to get a yes vote across? Did it hurt the yes vote? Has it enhanced the yes vote? What do you think about it?
Well, Steve, I think it depends on whether people were just looking or whether they were listening.
Mm-hmm.
If they were just looking, there are some persons who may have had an aversion to what they saw,
Mm-hmm.
but if they listened, they were quite clear in the message that this bill, in particular, Bill number 4, had nothing to do with them. It extended nothing outside of what is defined within the bill as sex being male or female.
Mm-hmm. Now, you realize that notwithstanding all of the eloquence that has been used and the language that has been used by proponents of the yes vote, that it says nothing like that. It's not about conjecture. It's not about that. It says what it says, mm-hmm. Bill 4. Do you believe that people have bought into that? And as a direct result of the transgender people coming out, that they are not impressed at all that they are incorrect, that they believe that they are now correct after seeing the people come out and say, well, you know, this seemed to be about them too. And the commission and the educational committee has been saying, no, this is not about that. This is not about that. Right.
No, it really has absolutely, Steve, nothing to do with transgender persons or in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and their decision to come out or decide to advocate at this time. You know, what that grouping have done, in my view, is they have taken advantage of an opportunity so that their voice can be heard, or that the demands that they wish to make in the society can be heard at an opportunity where they their plight is a tangent mm-hmm. to the topic of discussion, mm-hmm. right? So we have two choices. We take our eye off of the topic of discussion and we deal with the tangential matters, right, that arise. And of course, they are going to take advantage of the opportunity so that they can be seen and heard and advocate their cause. Mm. So what we repeatedly say is, look.
But you don't think they're expecting anything?
No, well, they've said so in their statement. Mm-hmm. This does not help us. Mm-hmm. This does not go far enough to give us what we want. We are not in support of this because this has nothing to do with us. So if you listen to, like Cheryl says, if you listen to what they're saying it needs to go further because it doesn't do anything for us. But we tend to sometimes take our eyes off of what the focus is and get distracted by the drama of it. I mean, of course, it is drama. I mean, WhatsApp and everything is just going on about the lives of a group of people that before this discussion was raised, we really were living quite calmly and peacefully.
That's my point.
But Steve, it woke up a conversation.
Yes, it did.
We give you that, but it's not the topic of conversation.
I agree with you.
So
I agree with you.
once we invite persons to look at what it is we're seeking to accomplish, and Steve, if we are real about this life, we have to know that we're going to have a full dialogue about all the tangential issues that have come up as a result of this constitutional referendum and address them as a country one day, someday, but not today, because today we're dealing with the issue that's on the table.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Cheryl, but what I'm saying is this. You explained it well, Heather. And I'm saying to you, while I agree with you, I'm saying as a result of these other conversations that have come up, as these other conversations in any way, you may have been focused. You may have said, yes, we keep an eye on the sparrow, and that's commendable. But at the same time, realistically, looking at the body politic, looking at the public domain, do you sense that these other conversations, and all of this hullabaloo about who get married and all this kind of stuff, do you sense that that has impacted the thinking of people given the fact that they already believe that this Bill 4 will open the door? Do you think that that has impacted people's thinking to a point where they say, well, I ain't fooling with that now because you see.
Well, I think it's made our work more difficult.
It's been a distraction.
Okay.
So
your work is difficult, but you're not
deterred.
No, because once again, you remind people of what it is we're speaking about. And I always describe it like this. We have several layers to get through, okay? And we have to do the work we need to do to get through the several layers. So for some people, you only have 1 or 2 issues and you break through the layers. For others, there are 4 or 5. But at some point, once you work your way through each one, I always find that you still get to the root and the bottom of it. And most times, I have found that we win over persons once we get through the layers. And honestly, only those persons who remain hard and fast, Steve, in my experience so far, are those persons who just philosophically, bluntly do not believe that men and women are equal and can never, ever be. And so at that point, you realize, okay, well, you just have a philosophical difference from me, and there's no way that we're going to change that because that's your fundamental core.
Understood. So all things considered, Cheryl, it has been a distraction, you admit. It's caused the process to be more difficult. It has not slowed you down, has not deterred you, but certainly has it been a cause of concern that are we getting through to these people really? Are we getting through to them?
No, it's not been really a cause of concern. It's just addressing it and saying, well, this isn't what it is.
Okay.
It's a distraction. See it as such, and let's move on to what we're really going after.
Understood. Let me get to the calls today. I know you want to call me, 325-023516. We're talking with Cheryl Bazard, and we're also talking today with Heather Hunt on the telephone lines. Let's take a call. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, Steve, how you doing, my brother?
Yes, sir. I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, that's JJ, man.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's JJ. I want you to bear with me for 2 minutes, man. Bazard.
Yes.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
AJ, no salutations, man. Let's go. You say give you 2 minutes. I giving you 30 seconds. Let's go.
Okay, are you a married woman?
Very much so. 23 years.
So you married to a Bahamian or a foreigner?
A Bahamian.
Bazard is not a Bahamian title?
I'm married to a Bahamian.
No, you know, there are no Bahamian, but that's Barbados people, man.
No, they're not.
You and some people call people stupid in this country.
See, the thing is, Mr. AJ, is that you have asked me a question, I have answered you, and you have not accepted my answer.
She says that she's a Bahamian woman who is married to a Bahamian man, and so what's your other question?
I want to lose your cat and I'll just ask all over the Bahamas. I can't find Bazard all over the place.
Okay, what's your other question, JJ?
And let me tell you this, right? I on the street, and the people, 90% of people won't know all those bills. All these one of them bills, and maybe the marshal of this time, I want nobody will come and tell us in the next 15, 20 years. Because you guys, you're getting paid or the product treasury. People in this right now, why do no old people ain't get nothing? It's not fair. I can't go and sit on and gamble. I can't get a license and gamble to protect my family.
All right, JJ.
JJ. In the market and and borrow money to buy my houses and
We hear your points. We hear your points. But of course, the ladies here today, that is not their prerogative to speak to. They hear you too. But at the same time, they're talking about this yes vote. You obviously don't support the yes vote. You say that there's 90% out there who will be voting no. That's his scientific social science perspective because he's on the streets every day. And so that's what he says. But that's like some of the calls when I get when people are talking about it. I get that kind of a call from the time we've been talking about it. So that's why I tell you. I told them to ask their questions. You all are here.
Right.
And I started the premise by saying, why should I vote yes? See, I want to be convinced. And perhaps you ought to go at it as when they call so that you can tell them, these are the points. I mean, you get this all the time in the field, so I know this is nothing foreign to you, right?
No.
Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm good, thanks.
And good evening to you, guests.
Good evening.
And I concur with that last call, and I'm a female. I don't know if the yes vote, I don't know who they're listening to, but in the circles that I travel as a female, and what is so amazing is the, huge amount of females who are prepared to vote no against these bills. So I don't know if they're not selling it properly.
Why are they prepared to vote no?
Because they don't agree with them, and most of them feel they don't affect them, and they don't see the need for this Constitution to be changed. There's no outcry for the Constitution to be changed. I'm a female. I've never felt that I was slighted as a woman. I've always got what I wanted. I worked hard. I educated myself. I've always got what I wanted with God's help. And so the average person doesn't even feel there's a need to change the Constitution.
Do you?
And not only that, I want them to know that the no is coming from so many different angles. You have persons out there who are angry with the government, who saying they're going to vote no just because it's the government bringing it, and they said no the last time. There are persons who, like myself, who just don't see the need for it to be changed. And there are persons who feel there's a disparity in terms of our taxpayers' money, like you alluded to earlier, Steve, in terms of funding the vote no versus funding the vote yes. People want to see equality like they're talking about in the bill. There's no equality. So how can you be presenting a bill that you claim speaks to equality, and you who are the proponent of voting yes, you're not showing the Bahamian people that you believe in equality by funding both sides? That's our money. That's the taxpayers' money.
I appreciate you calling me. Let them respond.
Steve, if I can answer that.
Sure, she's going to respond to you.
Yeah, if I can answer that. First of all, it is not the yes campaign that is not funding the other side.
Yeah,
Let's make that clear.
That's clear. It's
The other thing too is that the points that the caller, the points that the caller made are all extraneous to the bills that are on the table, and that is it in terms of what is the focus and what are you looking at. The fact is, and like her, a lot of us as women have made sacrifices to get to the point where we are today. That's not the issue at hand. The issue at hand is that the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has disparities within it that does not accord equal treatment to both males and females based on the differing circumstances. And our argument is, as such, we need to make sure that they are balanced in terms of the rights being accorded and afforded to both males and females where there's a deficiency. With respect to number one, a married Bahamian woman who's married to a foreigner and sometimes just by accident of birth has a child outside of the Bahamas, that child is not a Bahamian. Sometimes it's health reasons why they have to have this child abroad. No ties to that foreign jurisdiction. The child is born and raised here and sees itself, identifies itself as Bahamian. And then after that, they have a second child in the Bahamas. And that child is Bahamian by the mere fact that the child was born within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now you have two children coming back with their parents into the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. One is stamped as landed as a returning resident. One is stamped as a visitor. The parent then have to traipse up and down to the Department of Immigration to say, I need to keep my child because they have no status in this country, who is a Bahamian in all sense and purpose of the word. And so to say that women are not affected or families are not affected, that is an incorrect statement to make. It may not affect you, but it is affecting a number of Bahamian families and not families of elite status. These are everyday. We've seen Kira, the girl who wants to play, for the Bahamas softball out of Grand Bahama, regular day on the street, girl who cannot do it because her father and mother were not married. She takes the citizenship of her mother. She is not Bahamian, but she's lived here all her life. She identifies as Bahamian. And so these are the irregularities that these bills are seeking to amend.
People would say that these are so urgent. If we have some concern, then perhaps we ought to go the way of what the Parliament can do in the interim until we can get our act together to know exactly and do more campaign or do more education, because people have been saying, Heather and Cheryl, that the campaign, and this is not your area, that the education campaign has not been the best campaign, that they still don't know a lot of stuff. Now, I know that they went all about the islands. I know that. But how effective the information,
but even in terms of that,
imparting of that
Steve,
information
we
has
have
been.
even took on the role in terms of education as well, and straight up, and then it's not twisted towards because this is the result we want. It is what we believe it is, and it and accords with what the Constitutional Commission is saying. Furthermore, in this day and age, Steve, when you and I were growing up, you had the 1969 Britannica Encyclopedia for your information. That is what you got. You now have day-to-day, minute by second information. It's all on social media. It's on the websites. It's on the commercials. So for someone to say at this point that they are not aware of what these bills are and what they could do, I think it's a stretch to say that. Now, to say I don't agree, that I fully respect your opinion to not agree, but
Understood.
not to say that I don't know.
Lots of calls on the telephone line for Heather Hunt and Cheryl Bazard today, proponents of the yes vote. And you can ask your questions because they want you to understand that they believe wholeheartedly in what they are doing. Excuse me, asking that question right up front. They said that they believe in what they're doing. They're interested in what they're doing. And certainly we are asking your views too, and you can express yourself today. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you? Are you there? Okay, I don't hear anybody. Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Stephen. Good afternoon, dear guest.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Steve. I'm just here to say a few words, and it's called for no questions, no debate. Steve, normally I come from a prayer house where we normally have service on Sundays, right? But the Lord spoke to the leader and said, don't have service on Sunday, have service Monday. I want to talk to the people and inform them what is going on. We went to church Monday, 2 o'clock. Steve, and the Lord spoke in the house of God and said to the people that the people has already won over this referendum bill. People in the no campaign has already won. The Lord spoke clearly and said, but the government and its yes voting campaigners, Steve, they're going to try and twist this. And the Lord spoke clearly, Steve, and he said, also, if they do this, Steve, the Lord said, he gave us scripture voices. He said, turn to Isaiah chapter 19, verses 18 and 23. Turn to Psalms 37 and the whole chapter. He said, turn to Proverbs 15 and verse 8 and 9. See, the Lord, you always hearing us people talking about we and I, what we need to do, what I need to do. We have taken God out of the equation, Steve. Steve, God has spoken yesterday, Steve, and God said, they have angry me, they have vexed me, but this time they're not dealing with the people. The government did not listen to the people. Now they have me to deal with, Steve. Steve, the Lord God Almighty himself said, if the government of the Bahamas tried to connive and twist this vote around, Steve, he told us what he would do. He will move on the people of this yes vote campaign and everybody, Steve. As I sit here today, Steve, God will move on these people so swiftly. If you read those voices that he gives you, he's telling you and describing some of the places he has already visited and judged because of disobedience.
Okay.
Steve, read them.
I got you. They're again there what? Isaiah
chapter 19, verses 18 to 25. Read Psalms 37. Read Proverbs 15, verses 8 and 9. He even called out some places where he's already touched and judged because disobedient.
Okay.
God said he made male and female. That's it.
I appreciate your call. Thank you kindly. I hear what you say.
He did make me male and female, and that is what Article 4 said, Amendment 4 says, male and female.
And just for the
that's
record,
no one who come and I have on that. God made them male and female, and that's what Amendment 4 says.
Just for the record, what do you say, and what have you been saying to people who've come to you and say, yeah, but this bill number 4 could possibly open the door? It's just a hint of it. For instance, that there was Sir Hartman Longley, the Chief Justice President, who had not said that he wasn't going to support equality for women, because he will. But he said that, no one can say definitively There's no definite person who can say it will not open the door to same-sex marriage. Michael Barnett, though he supports the bill so wholeheartedly with four yes votes in his view, he had mentioned earlier that we have to prepare ourselves for what's coming down the road because, and he was speaking to Bill number 4. He says that because, coming down the road, we can see the way in which things are happening in other jurisdictions as far as the courts are concerned. And then there's this whole thing that's happening all at once. Perhaps it's coincident. I don't know. But here we're doing this here. They're doing things in Canada. They did things in Australia, New Zealand, in America. They're doing things now in Bermuda. And it's all on this question of same-sex marriage or civil unions, that kind of a thing. And so I believe with all this coming together here, that may have something to do. Look at what's happening in North Carolina. All of these things people are now looking at. Because you're right, Bazard. We are exposed to the world instantaneously. So the whole thing is that when people see all of these things, they in fact are believing, and based upon our own jurists, eminent jurists, who have said, to be honest with you, we cannot tell you that it will not, but that will be a matter for the courts to decide if somebody decides that they are wanting to challenge based on this sex that's in Article 26. That's a non-discrimination area. See, that's the key, because everybody's been considered to be in an area of Article 15 where there's no discrimination, and everybody's protected, fundamental rights and everything else. And that's why I agree that everybody's protected under the Constitution, but there's some, which you says is an extension of the conversation, that who say that they're not protected. Everybody's protected. We know that everybody's protected. But this idea to really get sex into Article 26 had been, Ms. Bazard, Ms. Hunt, an ambition of the gay transgender agenda, for quite a number of years, long before some of you were even born. That's been the case.
But I wonder why the test, Steve, if I could stop you
Sure.
right there. Why was then the test not brought before the courts of the Bahamas during the 43 years of the existence of the word sex in Article 15?
I don't know.
Well, let me help you and some people on this, okay? The door, when everyone talks about this proverbial door being open or door being closed, in my view and the view of several other noted QCs and the Yes Campaign and others who interpret this, and Justice Nottage, I've heard it explain it this way. Article 15 as it stands right now has the word sex in it. There's no other words attached to it. It's just there, sitting in limbo, waiting for someone to bring the test case before the court of the Bahamas, and of course, by extension, the other higher courts to determine what that word means. What we are seeking to do now is when that test case finally comes, because it will come someday, I don't see it coming today, but when that test case does come, what we put into Article 26, Steve, will make the word sex in the entire chapter, that's inclusive of 15 and 26, the word sex will mean male and female. That means not only Parliament is restrained from making any laws which discriminate on the basis of sex, but it means that anybody who now tests Article 15 from a fundamental rights perspective, that court is bound to construe the word sex as meaning male and female. If we don't put it in, Steve, then whenever that test case comes, and obviously all of this discussion has light the fire under plenty people, and the test may come quicker than we think now because of what we're talking. So it's even more important to define the word sex now that we're talking about it, because it was always open. The door was always open for someone to test it. They had not done so. And now, one day, maybe sooner than we thought, the test will come, and the court is now constrained to interpret the word sex as meaning male and female.
Can I put a wage on the table?
Go ahead.
That the test case that you're talking about is going to come. It's going to come not until you put sex into Article 26.
But that doesn't mean it wasn't open to be.
I'm not arguing that.
So that's the point. When you say we are opening the door, see, that's the word and the rhetoric that's being repeated. This article is not opening the door. It is actually making sure that
Maybe you're
when
turning
the
on the
tests
light.
come, well, we're shining a light on the dark corner.
Maybe you're turning on the
no,
light.
But Steve, just because you're shining a light on the dark corner doesn't mean that whatever was in the corner was not there.
That's
so
true.
yes, what we're doing is
Mhm.
shining a light on a dark corner.
In other
that we've
words,
kept
hey,
quiet
you guys
about.
on the plane.
Exactly.
See the light over here? Come this way.
Thank
This
you.
is where
And
you
then
can get
mitigating
in.
it by
Exactly.
putting a
And so now-
definition.
So this is one of the reasons why there's nobody who can say with any definite belief that it will not open the door
No,
to
the
same-sex
question
marriage.
is, does it close the door? See,
Does it close the door,
So-
Heather Hunt?
I say,
Does it close the door?
I think it closes
It doesn't close the
No,
door.
it closes it more than it is open. It narrows and restrains a judge who has to interpret the word sex. Right now, Steve, if you imagine it, the door is bust wide open.
But
because
no one
there's
has brought a test case.
Because
No one has
nobody's brought a test case.
Mhm.
But what we
But you anticipate that a test case can come once you put that in the 22nd.
But Steve, and you know,
put
it-
sex in Article 26.
absolutely.
Am I right, Leonard Counsel?
You are right.
Okay.
But
Let-
listen,
let me ask you another question.
but
Hold on now.
I gotta finish my point.
Yeah, but I hear you.
Let me and I have to go off 2 seconds just
See
to
there?
make my point. Let me tell you why, Steve.
Hmm.
Because in this country, okay, we get there are some alarmists, okay, who are saying, oh, well, now we have to we have to make a decision on same-sex rights and we have to make a decision on this. But I need to remind the Bahamian people, and
I'm coming to the calls right now.
my senior counsel here could, agree with me. She's more senior to me. But in this country, we have so many categories of persons when it comes to family law. Steve, we're still operating on fault-based divorce. You
Yeah.
still have to prove adultery. I mean, there's so many steps
Yeah,
and
yeah,
increments
yeah,
that we have
I
to
agree.
make in this
I don't
country.
disagree with you, Heather.
Sweethearts, I call them, or cohabitees
Watch it
of
now.
same sex.
Mhm.
Still cannot have rights in the country.
But listen.
And you think really and truly that in this Bahamas,
parliament-
same-sex
successive
couples are
parliaments-
going to get rights in this country
Heather Hunt,
before
Cheryl-
the cohabiting
Heather
the
Hunt-
cohabiting females and males who've been living
my learned
together
counsel want to really put
25
this on the table.
years and
Mhm.
still have no rights. You think they're going to get rights before them, Steve?
Well, listen here, Heather Hunt and
Really?
Cheryl Bazard. Let me just say this to you.
She has you calling my name incorrectly.
I
now,
have you.
Steve.
I have you. I have you. I hear what you're saying loud and clear. I'm saying to you, though, ma'am, that successive parliaments have failed the Bahamian people because instead of doing things in increments, which is what a small growing nation, we're only 40 years old. We're not 1,000 years old. We're not 300 years old. We have to make provision for us to grow along with the country, or the country to grow in increments and to see its success in incremental stages. So we are 40 years in, 43 years exact, right? Successive parliaments have not gone that road. No one has even challenged through the courts, the Constitution as it stands. Maurice Clinton, a noted QC and one who's been at the Privy Council level on many cases, and as one has said that, look, nobody, the courts have been there wide open like that. Challenges could have been done. It's never been challenged by the courts. That's why he says the Constitution ought not to be touched, because if it can be challenged, and it will be challenged some days, you say, and I agree with you, bring the case. If it's there and it could open the door for it, or it has opened it long time, bring the case. Let two individuals who want to believe that they've been discriminated against bring the case. But they have not done that because, see, they need somebody. I don't know what you call those people who lead the planes in with the lights. What you call them? Whoever they are. You know what I'm saying? The people with the lights. They tell them, come this way. Well, now, the Constitutional Commission, in its advocacy to change, in its determination to change and amend the Constitution, is saying, look at us, we have the lights, see, right this way. Come this way to Article 26. It's now in there, sex, male and female. And maybe the challenge will come. I rest that there, but hold on to this now. How do you respond, ladies? And I want to ask you this, What about the inclusion of the words born male or female? That's been kind of like,
Yeah,
a
that's
little
been a
funny thing.
contentious
Yeah.
point.
Okay, so if you had included born male or female, wouldn't that have made the issues clearer and effectively close the door or of the transgenders, at least, trying to sneak in rights under the proposed amendments And if so, why was this not done? Why didn't they receive the recommendations? When I say they, the government, that was taken out. We know the story there.
Yeah.
The amendment that they put there is 25 to just mitigate, to make sure that we are not going to be saying that it will infringe upon this thing that we've had under the Matrimonial Clauses Act, that marriage is between a male and a female, man and woman. Why didn't you do it? Why didn't that happen? Don't you see that this has caused all the hullabaloo?
Yeah, but before I answer that, in addition to the Matrimonial Clauses Act indicating that a lawful union is between one man and one woman, under Article 26(4)(c) of the Constitution, there is that exception in terms of these fundamental rights, and one of them is marriage. So marriage is secured by the Matrimonial Clauses Act as well as by the Constitution. That's number one. Number two, now, in terms of dealing with the born, male or female, that opens another door on another conversation. That as to when does life begin? Because you are male before you're born. You are female before you're born. And if you're saying now that you are male at birth, you open now the door to, do we now look at our abortion laws? Yes, the rights of an unborn child. And so the mere fact, and this has been a discussion. And
but does an unborn child count?
An unborn child counts. An unborn child counts. The thing is, the conversation was put to the Christian religious authorities, and Dr. Miles Monroe was the key proponent of the male and female, that definition.
Yeah, male and female
male
at
and
birth.
female, male and female
At birth.
male and female
At birth.
male and female. We can have this conversation, and there's recordings of his voice saying what he said.
I have a recording of his voice saying what he said.
I know, and
Okay.
I know we'll go there afterwards. But the thing is, that is why it wasn't put in there, Steve, because it opened up that other can of worms in terms of
And you've been
that.
telling that to people on the campaign trail?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. You've been telling that to people nationally?
Yes, we have.
Every time when this question comes up, I'm told from Tom, and I haven't attended all town meetings, I admit,
Right.
but those persons who are in the town meetings on our behalf, this has never been reported that they have said that they can put it in because it'll open up another can of worms.
Yeah.
Even if that's the case,
Right.
people are saying, well, that's a cop-out.
I
That's
don't
what people
think
would
that's
say.
a cop out. It is not a cop out because and when one also looks at what determines what is male and female anyway, it's from a chromosomal perspective.
Yeah.
So even if we say male and female, it is taken and understood that it is what you are scientifically. Okay, you can change your appearance, but you cannot change your chromosomal makeup. So you will remain what you came as.
And
So I suppose, Heather, you don't have any predictions about how we're going to have this bathroom thing happening.
No, but hold on, before I get that there though, I mean, just to play the devil's advocate here for a minute, and I normally don't do the hypothetical, but I think it illustrates the point. You're talking about at birth, right? You can have a person who was born John, okay, and decide that they want to go through the transition, okay, to become Jane, okay, and go and seek and make applications to get married because they present as a certain thing, and then she says, or shim, or he, I don't know what the politically correct thing is to say, so please forgive me. The person can say, oh no, you cannot refuse me because at birth I was John, and now I'm going to get married and I want my marriage license. Then that is where you have all these tests.
I see.
And the test case will come.
Even
So
if
the
John is now
simple-
dressed up as Gene and even had a sex change but don't have a womb,
well, the
But
court
there's
will
an
then
English case
decide.
that has decided that, Corbett and Corbett, where the person went for a divorce, and the court said, I cannot grant you a divorce because you were never married, because you were never female. You presented yourself as female,
So you
but
was a
you are a
fraud.
man. And
But
the
you were a
court
fraud.
dismissed it because there was no marriage on which the court had to
Are
decide.
you saying here, counsel, that this could be a situation that maybe that will be the precedence that
that has
courts
been
will
the
rule on?
precedence that has been followed. Corbett and Corbett, Bellinger and Bellinger, those have been
So
the two
when
cases.
so when there are officials of the government, I won't say who,
Right.
when there are officials of the government who work on behalf of the government, who are of the view and opinion fundamentally that, and I don't know, it's because of their persuasion or their whatever it is, but they are of this opinion. No, I'm serious. They're of this opinion that if a man comes before them through a marriage counsel, through a marriage, what you call them, a marriage officer,
Right.
And he is dressed like a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and he's had a sex change. Literally had a sex change, but he just don't have a womb. That he can get married to somebody else.
He can go through a marriage ceremony. There's a difference.
He can have a ceremony, but he can't be considered married.
Correct.
Not to a man.
No.
But if he wants to marry a woman,
Right.
he can marry.
He can marry a woman because he's a man.
Yeah.
He'll test the case
Correct.
at birth.
Yeah.
Well, at birth,
But he
I
no,
was-
but he's a man.
but who is to say that the marriage officer will not give a license? I know we're way drifting.
You
He'll
can
get a license because he presented himself.
He was fraudulent.
Yeah.
He was fraudulent.
And so based on that, but see, what I'm saying to you, only the person who he married could have his secret and know about it, because the marriage officer saw a woman. He didn't ask him to raise up a dress and all that kind of stuff.
Of course, and
So-
you have to fill in the form, and you should be filling that out truthfully.
Right.
So it would have been a fraudulent completion of that form.
But who's to say that anybody will even know that? Because there's nobody to challenge whether or not Jane and Steve, who got married, is
But
really
Steve, it may be
Steve
existing
and
now.
John.
It may be existing now, and we don't know.
Well, that's the point what I'm
Yes,
making.
and so you can't close every door, because there will be persons who will try to find loopholes and go around and do whatever from a fraudulent perspective.
I've got to take these calls.
But if
I'm
it's
sorry.
discovered that it's fraudulent, then the marriage is not subsisting.
Okay, we're going to
It
go in
never
over
did.
time. Not a problem. Hot copy. How are you? Sorry to keep you holding. Please ask your question.
Good afternoon, dear guest.
Good
Yes.
afternoon.
Just want to give them some encouragement because I know it's a hard task.
Well, they can handle themselves. Believe you me.
Thank you.
I said on the other night, so I know this is a difficult task. And
Oh, how you doing? How you doing, sir?
all is well, man.
Okay, good.
But what Steve was just discussing with the marriage, I just had the same conversation with my coworkers. I think marriage ceremonies was being performed in this Bahamas before. Okay? Now the problem is, not just under the Matrimony Clauses Act, I think it's Section 20. It says that you can petition the court to get a marriage voided for anything that's in Section 21. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay, so when you're going around educating people, you should start just when you read the Bible, give people the context of articles which you're speaking about.
Okay.
More understand it.
So let me ask you why I have you on the line. Obviously, you've been following the meetings. You've been perhaps at some of the town meetings.
I've been the one.
Okay, so that one that you went to, did you get a good understanding as to what's happening?
But before I went there, I had a fairly good understanding. I went there to ask a particular question, but I didn't get my chance to answer the question.
Okay. You can ask them now if you want to.
He gave me a little clarification, but I still ain't too clear because I've asked another attorney and he said something different.
Okay, yeah, that's been happening, and they're all in competing circumstances where you have QC saying one thing, another QC saying another thing. It depends on whose QC you are asking, I suppose. But so where you sit on these bills, based on what you know, how do you feel on the vote?
How I feel on the vote?
Yeah.
Well, for one, I have a serious problem with number 2.
Okay.
For this reason.
That's the woman passing on her citizenship to her husband.
The woman ain't passing on the citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the foreign man could be entitled to get citizenship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, he's entitled to apply. Let me start. He's not entitled to get citizenship. He's entitled to apply.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's entitled to apply. Okay. And under the provisions what they put in the Constitution now to safeguard marriage's convenience and all of that, right?
Right.
They're not asking the person to renounce their citizenship.
Mm.
Okay. So I have a serious problem with that.
Okay.
That is not going to be equality. Right now it isn't equal because the foreign female who has that entitlement to apply, he is not required to renounce.
So you're looking at that part of it. Would they have to renounce?
Have to renounce. See, because our citizenship, for me personally, should be worth something.
Yeah, well, I say the same thing.
Yes, citizenship, you should be willing to give up something to get it.
I understand. I appreciate you calling. Let me let them talk about it. We've got calls. I'm going to take these calls. You made a note of that, right? And on that particular score too, obviously these bills are based, well, not bills. These questions now, based upon the bills that will pass in Parliament, they're more from a point of view of citizenship, more so than gender equality. We've made that argument, and we believe that the argument has been skewed because the debate was skewed because we were talking about gender equality, and one would just think, and you all have been saying it, for our sons and daughters. And I suppose I see your point about how it leads into citizenship, but these bills are more predominantly about citizenship than anything else, in my view, in my humble opinion. But I know council may differ with me on that. See, I learned the language, right? Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you?
Yes, good afternoon, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to you and your guest.
Good afternoon.
Mr. McKinney, I listen to your show quite often. I want to ask Ms. Hunt a question. With all the trouble that's going on in this country right now, unemployment, BAMC failure, Burma failure, all kind of things, crime out of hand, why is this so urgent? And why is this so important? And it's been working for years and years and years. All of a sudden, it is so vitally important to have this thing done. I listened to the QC the other day, Harvey Times, and if I'm not correct, please correct me. But he has said on many times on this show, detested it. If a woman goes now, say, a Bahamian woman, for some fraudulent reason and marries a Haitian. And shortly after that, he comes and you say it will take 10 years, which I believe is a bunch of bull. But anyhow, all of a sudden, he now becomes a Bahamian. He divorces her, and he goes now and marries another Haitian. And then he has the right now as a Bahamian to run for the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. Do you guys really believe Bahamian people are really this stupid? Now, you please explain that to me, and I take you for a very learned young lady.
Both of them are. I appreciate your call. Let them explain it.
Can I deal with his last point?
Sure.
This whole idea, because there seems to be this phobia or this thought of a foreign man becoming prime minister. Let me state at the outset, for the last 43 years, a foreign woman, once gaining citizenship, could have become prime minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Absolutely.
Then, Steve, you've said that, you've been in the trenches for quite a long time. You know someone does not walk into a political party and become leader overnight.
No, we know that.
First of all, you have to be accepted into the party. That's first of all. Then you have to be nominated. The established parties, yes.
But there could be a new party that could come out of nowhere.
It could come out of nowhere, but there still has to be the same process, and you have to be accepted by the Bahamian people. So whatever it is, it isn't in some secret chambers. You are accepted. You, if you want to run for that particular party, you have to go to the nominating committee, the candidates committee, and get a nomination. You have to then go to the Bahamian people, gain their trust, and get elected. Then you have to deal with leadership in a party. And we've seen the difficulties that leaders in political parties have had. You look at how many have been leaders in political parties over the years, and that will tell you that this isn't a fly-by-night, a constant turnover to be leaders in a party. So to get from citizenship today to prime minister tomorrow is a flawed argument, and it is really based in fear. And so what we want to say is that it cannot happen that overnight someone becomes prime minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Overnight. I agree.
No, it cannot, and it takes a number of years.
And
but
it can't happen.
Anything can happen, Steve. We live. I mean, if we go by the what if,
yeah,
right now we will not get up out of bed in the morning.
But I'm saying this, Ms. Bazard, it may not happen overnight, as you put it, and you're not wrong. But at the same time, the possibility, the opportunity happens to be there once these things are in place.
But it can happen right now in terms of having a foreign person as prime minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
In a woman.
Without any changes to the Constitution.
Yeah.
But this has never been raised prior to now.
No, when Harvey Times made that point, he had made that point based upon one thing, that there's people who we happen to know, who are very, very anti-Bahamian, nasty-minded toward Bahamian, but have plenty political ambition and wanting to do a number of things, and playing with the political party. Not an established political party, mind you.
Yeah, but so creating their own.
But he said, if we in fact could be making citizens overnight, in 10 to 20 years' time, this Bahamas could be a completely different place, run by complete different people who may even be speaking Chinese as a Bahamian. It's not incorrect for him to say that, because these amendments opens those doors for that to happen.
Yeah, but no one is saying, but these amendments, even without these amendments, that door is open. That's all I'm saying. Because the child of a woman who obtains citizenship through marriage is a Bahamian. But if that child grows up in a household where the citizenship or the nationality or the former nationality of its parents is predominant in that house. I mean, we are going behind so many things and creating so much hysteria where it should not exist.
But see,
because Steve, I mean, the Bahamas has been a melting pot over the years.
It
You and
has.
I can look back in our ancestry and we can find English, we can find Irish, we can find African, we can find Hispanic, we can find all of that in our ancestry that makes us Bahamian. But no one questions our loyalty as Bahamian, you know? And so this whole idea, this whole premise is based on fear rather than just looking at it logically. And it's been here on the books for the last 43 years.
But listen, the people who have advocated this, and Harvey Tynes one of them, he's a logical man. He isn't basing anything on fear. He's a man who believes in law. Maurice Clinton is not illogical.
But his argument is not based in law,
His
Steve.
argument is based in law.
Not in this. No, it is not. Not on number two. Not on number two. You said his argument.
Yes, I was
is
telling you,
such that.
but I didn't finish, you know. There
Okay,
are
well,
the
let me
other
hear the
parts,
legal part.
the other parts of his argument, you know. His argument is that when we have what we are dealing with here, and Article 10 is there, he was the one who put on the table, you know, that Article 10, we should look at repealing Article 10. We know that others have said, no, that would not be a good thing to do. But he says, look, if you're so concerned about this whole thing called the disparity and this unequal placing, then remove it from those who have it now and don't compound the problems, what he said. He thinks that that's an error.
So if we're removing it from those who have it now, do they then lose their status as Bahamians?
Well, I don't know if they lose their status. I know that he's very concerned about the real possibility of losing the entire country. Now, you may say you don't agree with his argument. I'm only telling you what his argument has been.
No, I'm just saying that I'm just putting the other side of it.
Yeah.
And it's for the Bahamian people to decide what they're feeling. But what I want to advocate is that don't build it on the fear or the hysteria that tomorrow it can happen. It can happen now. And it could have happened for the last 43 years.
When Christie was giving you all your papers to say, hey, he is doing something here, fantastic. You know what Christie said? Christie said, the Prime Minister said that he wanted to emphasize that the case of Amendment 2, which is what we're talking about, which would enable a Bahamian woman who marries a non-Bahamian man to secure her husband the right to apply for citizenship, that citizenship in those cases would not be granted automatically.
Correct.
He says, but instead involve a long process. There is nothing easy or convenient about becoming a citizen this way. The process typically takes 10 or more years. It involves interviews, inspections to ensure marriage is legitimate. I hear him, and I'm just simply reading that to tell you that while I hear what he says, it doesn't say it would never happen. It says that it may take 10 years to do for this person to get citizenship and so forth. And when that happens, you cannot stop that individual. Is what Harvey is saying, from making application to join a political party, to start a political party. And so 10 years to some people is tomorrow. 10 years to some people is a long time away. But I can tell you, I remember 10 years ago, I was at 45, 46, somewhere around there. And the point is, I didn't even know where the time went. You see the point? So 10 years to some people is like tomorrow, and some 10 years is a long time. But leave that as it is.
Right.
Let's move on. There's many calls on the telephone line. I've got to get them. Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, Steve. This is Paul.
Paul, how are you? This is Paul Morse.
Yeah, I'm good. And I just want to say hello to both Cheryl and Heather.
Hi, Paul. Hi.
I think during the early part of the show, Cheryl was not sure, or didn't present herself as being sure what Article 13 says. And it really speaks about the power of Parliament to grant citizenship outside of this chapter 2 being the chapter that speaks about citizenship. And I just read it.
No, it wasn't a matter. Let me 1 second, Paul. It wasn't a matter of not being sure. I was very sure. And Steve and I had the conversation that while there is that can happen in that fashion, the argument was that it should be entrenched so that it could not be tampered with or repealed by a following.
I heard that. But when you it presented as though this was some debate.
No, I didn't.
Not necessarily with you. Not necessarily with you. You said that they were, a line of argument. I just wanted to read that portion just to be sure, so that the audience understands that Parliament certainly has, as it says in Article 13, the Parliament may make provision for the acquisition of citizenship of the Bahamas by persons who do not become citizens of the Bahamas by virtue of the provisions of the chapter. So I just wanted to clarify that. Another point you made, you talked about a woman having a child, a married woman having a child abroad who could not confer citizenship on that child. And why is that is true? There's also provision, because Parliament has done this by virtue of Article 13 to permit such a woman in those circumstances to make application at the birth of a child. So if a child is born in a hospital, Korea, that child, that mother can make an application on a Form 4 before the Immigration Department to register her child.
Form 4 is the application.
Yeah, understood, but that is not automatic.
I heard her say was that there was some child who wanted to represent the Bahamas, but because her father had her with a foreign woman, she was unable to get citizenship. So the point is that even if we pass these bills, it does not help her because these bills are not retroactive.
Yeah, they're not.
Agreed, but there is a policy decision that is stated that they will make
that Kiva
to
or
deal with
Keva, I
persons who are
can't
still
remember her
minor.
name, who wants to participate in this country, that this is the only country that she knows. How could Parliament make a decision to themselves that they're not going to look after a person like her? And there are thousands of others who maybe even from Haitian parentage who have made applications sitting there for years and no one is saw fit to do it. And here's what they're asking us to do: to be able to vote on these bills for yes way, so that a foreign woman a Bahamian woman who marries a foreign man, that he is able to get citizenship. And by the way, it does not say he has the right to apply. It is automatic. Automatic may take 10 years after various tests, but there's no way that you can deny a person who fits the criteria that they would be a citizen. That's one point. That's an aside. But clearly, when you look at all of these people in this country who have gone to school here, can't even get bank accounts now, have made application before the Immigration Department and cannot get an answer, it is almost criminal to suggest that we're going to allow them to wait. Whilst we go give these new persons who have never even been to the country, in some cases, in this instance, have not even been born. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your call.
Okay, and
ahead,
like
Mr. Bazard.
just saying, because he noted that the parent can apply, but in the other circumstance, for a Bahamian man, wherever he has his child married, the child is automatically Bahamian. Nobody has to apply for anything. And so the leveling of the playing field is that the Bahamian mother married to the foreign man should be able to automatically have that citizenship also applied to her child without any application form. And so he and I, we're saying the same thing. Now, for those persons who when he talks about bill number 2, they are entitled to apply to be registered once certain considerations are in place. And those considerations now are being taken out of the Immigration Act, the Bahamas Nationality Act, and are being placed within the Constitution itself. So you have to meet those criteria in order to become a citizen of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. And he has acceded and conceded to the point that it is a long process. No one is saying that you go to immigration tomorrow and you get your papers unless, but you don't go there and get it tomorrow. And so it is a process. It is a process.
There are some, as I go back to lines, who believe Heather Hunt and Cheryl Bazard, that the Constitution Committee ought to have been more focused on things and elements in the Constitution that have not been so kind to the native Bahamian. And that is the gambling thing, which is also something that should be reviewed, but that was not a priority matter. I don't have no difficulty with that because I don't believe in gambling. But from a point of view of what people may be wanting, that is a big bone of contention. That's one. The next thing is, and which is something that I agree with, there are many people who believe that this commission should have been concentrating on Article 7 of the Constitution. Article 7 that gives the children of non-nationals this right, this entitlement to apply for citizenship upon 18. That's the short of it. But people believe that is the crux of the matter because Paul alluded to it, He says, all these people who are here in abundance, we seem to be going someplace else and they ain't satisfied.
Steve,
I'm only saying, Heather.
I know, but I just want
to... Counsel, I'm only saying this. This one little thing I say. That people believe if there was any call for constitutional amendments, that these would be the areas. Why? This particular one on the non-Bahamian, non-residents. Let me tell you why. Because in 19, I can tell you now.
Okay.
Let me just.
I mean, you say you was gonna. Okay. I
1980. 19. It's a very important one. It came up because of what Cheryl said. 1980. Piddling and those sought to make an amendment of it. We don't know what became of it. They had the carnival and everything for this thing, and it died. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he stepped on some toes, but in 1980, that was aborted, never to be brought up again. And even now, as we deal with these constitutional bills, this is still way behind. That's not a priority, but that's a priority. Look at all the people that we have here. We don't know who's who, what is what. They all deserve citizenship, or they don't.
But Steve, this is my response to
Go right
that.
ahead.
Okay. First thing, in the Bahamas, okay, your citizenship is determined by parentage. We're not, and that's the basis upon which you get citizenship. Article 7 deals with offspring of 2 foreign parents.
Right.
Okay. Whether that has created a large group of persons born in the Bahamas who need to be addressed, that's undoubted. It's been a problem has been allowed to get to this point for decades and decades and decades. This amendment is seeking to equalize how citizenship is transmitted by Bahamian citizens. That doesn't mean that at some point the government, or if not this government, successive governments will then move to the position to determine how are we now going to address citizenship of persons born by foreign parents. You know what that will result in, Steve? Basically, is turning the apple cart upside down. You have to ask certain questions. Are we then changing the position of the Bahamas, meaning that we're granting citizenship based on place of birth, like it is in the United States? Or if it's still the bloodline, Steve, then we have to deal with the bloodline. And the bloodline is that the 2 foreign parents under our law does not create a Bahamian child. Yes, at some point, Steve, we have to address the matter of that group. But my point is you cannot refuse to equalize the status of how Bahamian citizens transmit their own Bahamian citizenship and put that on equal footing to an exercise where 2 foreign persons are in our country. And hold on, Steve, just a minute. And they are now seeking to create a Bahamian citizen out of a bloodline that has no connection to the Bahamas.
I'm with you, Council. I'm with you.
So you do not defeat this exercise just because the one you are more interested in is not on the table. What you continue to do is what I would do. And this is a personal commitment of mine, Steve. I am personally committed to the entire journey of constitutional reform. I personally have a top 10 or top 20 of things that I wish to see. I know the Constitutional Commission has 73. I have at least a top 10, but this is the first one. So when we finish talking about the first one, I know one Heather Hunt will continue to be speaking about what other matters need to be brought to the forefront. But you don't kill this one just because the others that you think are more important should have been dealt with at the same time.
Now, let me just say this now, before people get this misconstrued. I'm not advocating any of the sort. I'm saying I hear you and I agree with you. You're not wrong. You're not incorrect. The point, though, is this. Don't miss my point. In the face of what we have as a national security risk, it would warrant any logical thinking leadership to consider quickly the urgency of now and deal with the matter, because it's a matter of national security.
Well, maybe both political parties ought to be speaking to that grouping and tell them what will be happening 12 months from now when we face general elections. And that is something that the 3 political parties ought to be doing, and not us taking that point on when the questions before us are bills 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Wasn't putting that to you all.
But I'm just saying, telling you the persons who use that as an excuse to ignore or vote against these 4 bills, go to your aspiring prime minister and ask him, what is it that you're going to do? What is your next round of constitutional reform? Is this going to be it? Have that conversation with him, those 2 gentlemen who wish to be the prime minister to come out to the Bahamas.
Can I ask my aspiring prime minister? Heather, I want to ask that question to you.
Well,
Ms. Bazard, I want to ask that question to you. I hold you both in high esteem. I believe we can have a woman prime minister shortly. I could be dead wrong. But if you ask me to ask my aspiring prime minister, I can ask you all. Just hold on that for a second. I'm going to the lines. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy. Okay, no one's there. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, Mr. McKinney. How are you?
Very good, sir.
All right, and good evening to your guests.
Good evening.
Earlier, one of the ladies said that, Bahamians don't question the loyalty of Bahamians. But that is something I've been doing for a long time. The last election, we had thousands of voting Bahamians congregate in the Fox Hill area to receive instructions from a Haitian prime minister, voting for Bahamians. And so when I look at these bills, just on citizenship alone, I'm very, very concerned. Because when you have the proverbial legs of the country being open to inundation of foreigners, to me, that's something to be highly concerned with. You have a lot of Bahamians in this country who are of another nationality that would in turn instantly be able to marry somebody from the country that they came from, make them a Bahamian, and have a bunch of children that are also Bahamians who don't have the best interest of this country at heart. Because if you're going to, as a voting Bahamian, collect in a particular area to receive instructions from somebody of another nation, that warrants concern for me. The last thing I'd like to say is, on this issue alone of equality, I hear a lot of people who are paid talk about it. I hear a lot of lesbians talk about it. I hear a lot of men talk about it. But I don't hear a lot of female Bahamian citizens of this country call the talk shows and say, hey, this is something I feel deprived, I feel degraded in this country for years. This is a good thing. And so I feel like it's not coming from the ground up. I feel like it's coming from the top, go down. And I equate it to you going to a Muslim country and trying to tell them how wonderful pig feet sounds. Thank you.
If you ask them how sheep tongue sounds tasty, they'll tell you because they eat a lot of sheep tongue, but I don't know if they eat pig feet. But go ahead, ladies.
Well, I mean, I think he really focused on the point that Heather made, which was that in terms of what is being dealt with from a citizenship perspective, is that you're dealing with someone who is part Bahamian, who has the Bahamian roots. What he has opened the door to is saying that there are foreigners in the country who congregated and got instructions. But that is something, like Heather said, it's a continual process on the road to constitutional reform. And, in terms of looking at the reactions sometimes of having this conversation where one parent is Bahamian, imagine the conversation where no parents are Bahamian. And so it's a growth and it's a maturity process that the Bahamians have to get to have the conversation and make the decisions.
All right. I see the time. It's 23 behind. Let me take these 3 calls and then we'll give our wrap up of this whole thing. Yeah, I've given you a time. I hope that this
we didn't even notice the time fly by.
Well, see, that's because you're on hard copy.
That's right.
This is where we talk, real talk here. Hard copy, how are you?
Good day, Steve. How you doing?
Very good, sir.
It's so funny that the good lawyer said that she didn't see how time fly. It's the same thing you was talking about. I was in how time fly when it comes to 10 years there.
You all too smart for me, but I'm
it's
listening.
process.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I'm sure the lawyers that Bahamians are not dumb, or will be swing easily. But I just wanted to call in to say that I heard Miss Cheryl Bazard said to a caller that if a Bahamian couple, or Bahamian mother or father, whichever one, but a Bahamian couple has a child in the States because of sickness or whatever, then that child would automatically become whatever the nationality is. I tend to differ with her because
let
me finish.
It's not a Bahamian couple. One of the parents is foreign. I said where a married Bahamian woman is married to a foreign man and has a child outside of the country, the child does not take on a Bahamian citizenship.
Okay, that's what you said. But I do recall the good former Chief Justice of Appeals, Miss Joan Sawyer, where she said that there's already a provision within the Constitution where it gives Parliament the right to grant those persons who want to be citizens. Now, she said that to say that, and you can watch the tape and in the interview when she did it on a news station, she said that the citizenship passing on to the children was never intended to be where automatically it was something. The reason why we have this 18 years or older thing is that the child will then make a determination whether they want to be here in the Bahamas or whether they want to be elsewhere in foreign, because they currently have both parents who are not from the same country. So at the end of the day, I'm just trying to figure out why we trying to force citizenship on children who maybe 15 years down the road do not want to be here. They maybe want to go live in Iraq.
Well, then why are we forcing citizenship? Why are we forcing citizenship then on? No, let me just finish. I want to ask you the question though. Why are we forcing citizenship on children born to Bahamian men all over the world who are married to a foreign woman? Why are we forcing citizenship on them then?
We force it.
We are forcing citizenship on them because any Bahamian man married to any woman anywhere in the world and their children are born anywhere in the world, the child is Bahamian.
Yeah.
So you are forcing a Bahamian
citizenship
on the child.
According to Ms. Sawyer, that was never intended that way. So I'm just saying, but she said that, but anyway, she said, just to fast forward, there is provision. She laid out the Constitution documents, the present Constitution documents where a minister of immigration or foreign affairs, I think it's immigration, she said that can make this person a Bahamian citizen. So it's almost like we don't really have to go through all this. And I agree with her. This ain't making no sense. We are pressing issues. People getting shoot down every day. All this, and we're not even trying to find ways how to enhance, but not enhance, to strengthen our constitution so we can carry the death penalty. What happened to these pressing issues that Bahamians are facing every day? Why are we not addressing this?
Okay, I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. McKinney, the pressing issues, and no one is diminishing the other issues that are in this Commonwealth. We all face it as citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. But these are being addressed by those that have the responsibility for those areas. And as responsible citizens, we act in a way that we don't contribute to the social issues. So to use that argument, why aren't we addressing the issues of the day? We are addressing the issues. They are being addressed by the persons who should address them. But that doesn't mean that we can't have a conversation on other things, that we're held hostage by these other things and imprisoned even in our thoughts.
Plus, you have a job to do. Here's the Yes Vote campaign. And so we understand that. And there will be all of these other circumstances.
It will always be there.
The Constitution is that supreme document that governs we all.
Right.
And all of we want to make sure that we benefiting and that nobody put nothing on the next one.
Of course.
To put it that way. And so while we hear that, we know that this debate is just going on. And I'm just wondering if, in fact, based on all what I'm hearing today and all that you've been experiencing in the field, whether or not these conversations have amounted to anything from a point of view of a positive plus that you're going to see at the end of the day that the Bahamian people are on the same page. There's obviously no unanimity among the Bahamian people on this, unlike the parliamentarians and unlike some others, the churches in some cases. But there is this view that what do we get? What's the end of the day deal that we are looking at here? Do you think this yes vote will carry? Do you think that you'll have some troubles and you may have to attack it one more time later on? What do you see?
Well, Steve, there is no unanimity, but that is not what is required for the passage of these bills. It's 50 plus 1.
50 plus 1.
And so we will continue with our message and our one-on-one conversation, because you would understand too that different fora lend different conversations.
Right.
And so what I will have on a one-on-one basis with somebody is different from all of these airing on the radio shows.
See, a lot of people believe, and I'm glad that you said that, you're looking at 50 plus 1. You just need the higher percentage.
Yes.
There may be 49% or 48% some of people who believe that we should vote no.
Right.
That may be a growing concern. That may be cause for concern. But really, if you are focused, as you say that you are, you're only looking to get 50 plus 1, and that's the end of the story.
Yes.
So there may be a lot of people who are disheartened about this whole matter. But then again, it could be landslide, like some people thinking, because you're in no vote, no straight across board. It could be landslide either way. If there are more people convinced that they should vote yes, you will have a pretty victory. If there are people just on the squeaker who believe that, okay, we have enough to get our 50.1%, and you achieve that, the people would still win. But I don't know how that would make for the political parties later on, because that would be a different, that's not your concern.
Right.
I'm just making this comment. That'll be a different kettle of fish.
Yes.
Because it is such a narrow thing that it can cause a lot of fallout with a lot of Bahamians toward political parties. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And that's something that the powers that be ought to also concentrate, because we are a very, very small and fragile country these days. There's so many different viewpoints on so many things. so many people who are very, very pro-Christian. There's so many people who are just not into it. They are, they're atheists, they are agnostics, they are evolutionists, and we have to appreciate that too. And so a lot of those things are what we talk about.
But one thing I want to say, Steve, before you wrap it up, is really whenever we were confronted with major change in the country, you had the yes and the no. You had it with majority rule. You had it with independence. You had it with women's suffragette movements. Right. And so we're at the same point where we differ in our opinions. But at the end of the day, what we're saying is that, let's land again on the right side of history. Because, in my heart of hearts, I believe to vote yes is to be landing on the right side of history. You had all the arguments, maybe the same arguments. If we were to do a research and listen to the arguments that were projected with Black people running their own country, you would hear the same sort of passion and same probably even points. But at the end of the day, as we saw it progress and unravel, change is never easy. But when you feel that it was within the best interest of your country as you move forward, then you move forward with that passion.
What happens if this whole thing fails and the Yes Vote campaign does not win? The Bahamian people rejects it. What happens then, Heather Hunt? What's the fallout? What's the positioning? What's the next move if that happens?
Well, Steve, I have two concerns, really. One, will there be the political will in the future to bring it back? Because we would have been in a situation where the proposal would have been defeated under both major parties. And so you're faced then with the question of, well, if not now, then really literally when? Because I don't think it'll be touched with the 10-foot pole for political reasons in the foreseeable future. So my view is this is it. And to be honest with you, I think it puts in jeopardy, and not just, Steve, if the will of the people will be expressed, okay, on the June the 7th. So what I'm saying though is, if we as a country don't figure out pretty quickly how we're going to approach referenda generally, now I say this is only the second time we've done it, but we better quickly figure it out and work out all the kinks. I'm not saying that it's perfect this go round. Everybody said it wasn't perfect the last go round, but we got to get it right, Steve, and quickly, because we know that this is going to be something that's going to happen several times, and we don't want to put the future referenda in jeopardy by not figuring out quickly how to iron out the kinks and how to put on a referendum without, in a lot of cases, some of the excess and the tangents. If we can discuss the issues, if we can educate, if we could satisfy all parties, if we can have a discussion about the proponents and the opponents and what's the proper procedure governmentally, then we need to fix it and fix it quickly, because I don't want to be in a position where future referenda are jeopardized. And those may be the very ones that the people want. But because of the one that they perceive that's not high on their priority list, you jeopardize the future ones that may be the very top of their priority list.
This has been a gallant effort by the Yes Committee and all parties concerned. But if you had to do this all over again, are there any things, is there anything at all that you may perhaps tweak a little bit in the presentation very quickly, if you can, to have made it more embracing by the Bahamian people, if that's ever possible, to present it differently? For instance,
I think you got to bring us back on June 8th or thereafter for the postmortem, because we probably will tell you then how we'll do it even better next time.
Yeah, because I think we're progressive. We're moving progressively towards, like Heather said, the last referendum there was no bipartisanship. This one, we have matured to the extent that we can have persons of different political parties, small increments.
Yes.
And therefore, we would hope that this is the way to go, and that because it's a national issue, that everybody who hold national offices will have that to come together and say, this is best for the Bahamas.
Can I say one thing as we wrap up? And we're leaving calls on the line. I apologize for that. But the thing is, we've got to go. Heather and Cheryl, I take you both very sincerely as decent, wonderful Bahamian women who I think have done great in the country. I really mean that. When I look at what is happening here, if I can just offer this, just from my own observation as a male, say journalist in some cases, but just as a father and a family man. I've been married now for 35 years or something like that, I believe. Darling, just cook the soup. Don't mind me. I can get it right. That's my wife. Now, when we deal with this matter, we've had certain aspects, and this is not for you to defend or anything. This is just me just saying this as we end.
Mm-hmm.
You have to show in the very early beginnings, the two, the male and the female, on these kinds of committees. You didn't have anything to do with this. This is what happened. This is your lot. You've been asked to serve. You've done good. I congratulate you. You've got to have that. That wasn't established. That has just come around because I keep my eyes on things, and I know you've got some other men, young men. I believe one or two of them may be lawyers who are helping out. That's good, but that's late. The other thing is you've got some people who society looks upon as, elitists. I don't make any apologies saying I'm telling you what I'm saying. This is from my perspective. And it was so top heavy with that it didn't seem to embody everybody, even though friends of mine and colleagues of mine around the table discussing says everybody is a common person, is a commoner, but you may say that in heart, but in perception, it's a different story.
I'm not defending this, but can I just say something though, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Because I come from over the second hill, Steve.
I know where you
I had
come
two
from.
hills to climb. And I mean, Lady Wilson comes from the heart of Wolf Road.
I know where she comes from.
Mrs. Lynn Hollowesco comes from Market Street. I mean, all of us
Where
have
I
the
come
story.
from.
I know where you come from, Heather. But no, I know where Heather comes from as well. No, I know where she comes from. I'm only kidding her. But my thing is, the mere fact is where persons are in life, Steve. I mean, it's been a struggle and it's been an effort to get it. No, but I hear you, but I'm just saying that to make the point that don't look at what you perceive them to be and that they just dropped out of the sky and hold these elitist positions.
They got
work for this.
Understood.
And it should be an inspiration for others to say, if they did it, I can do it too. Not to sit in judgment and say they don't understand my story or they don't understand my struggles. They do, but it may be now coated, like M&Ms. It may be coated in sugar and candy now, but underneath,
it's still depleted. But listen to this. Listen to this. I hear you. I don't disagree with you. I want to put this on the table. That's my observation from what I saw and what I'm getting feedback on. And then you have this whole social elites. Those who are in high society, they're, socialite elitists, that kind of thing. People perceive that, right or wrong. I'm going to tell you my observations. Then you have hierarchy clergy, who in many cases people see them as, okay, they ought not to take a side. We expect the moral gatekeepers to always be, neutral. These are my observations as to why I believe you're getting a lot of pushback in some cases because people just can't accept certain things. And I'm Catholic, and my Catholic bishop is among the lot that I include. So don't think anything of that. Those are some things. And then the other part of it is that there are others who have basically said some not so pretty things in their exuberance to get their point across, and people probably ticked them off. They said some things that was just foolish, and they ought to know better. And that has hurt, because let me tell you something. If you see the amount of things, I try to do my work in the day when some other people on their talk show, because I'm a businessman, and I'm getting, my phone is going to explode. He just said it. See, so that has not been good for you all. This is my love for our nation that I tell you that. Don't mean no harm, for what it's worth. And I believe that if there's a next time around, which there may very well be, and if you and Heather are
on another point,
you want to say that because you want to sound confident. I
Yes,
understand. No problem.
Yeah,
but if there is that, these things you should be cognizant of. Not that you were in charge of it, but you may be in charge of it next time.
Right.
Not that you're in charge, but you got influence about what should happen. I'm sure you all have your caucus, your meetings, and say, what is that? What do they say? How do you fix it? You have to strategize.
Yes.
But from the point of view of the average Bahamian person, they don't seem to be too embracing. Dr. Nottage made mention of it the other day, and he talks about momentum. Momentum is a very serious thing. And anger. We mustn't ignore what people say. We mustn't ignore what Justice Ruby has said, that, she's gotten some feedback because of how the government handles certain things. The government must not be foolish. and not hear you, all of you, if you tell them that privately. If you don't tell them that publicly, I understand. But if you tell them that privately, they must take that into account, because that is what has hurt this thing, I think that you all made a good effort. I think that the people should be applauded for going out there and taking the insults. I really think so, because you are my Bahamian people.
Right.
But the trouble is, sometimes you got people who are just so damn bullheaded. They don't understand nothing, and they think they know, and they don't count everybody as equal. They will perhaps say, I tell Steve shut up. We didn't want no recommendation from him. But then again, I'm a social scientist. I on the ground. I can tell you what the people are saying, and the people ain't happy. And that could be more of the mistrust that they see, because while we understand the difference between what is a binding and what is non-binding, why we know that this referendum is binding, the people ain't trusting, because they saw what the people come out first talking about it's binding, then change their minds to the heart of the game. These things you got to extrapolate all of those things and say, you know what, this may be why we are where we are. And I'm saying that to say it is not good to start at a disadvantage because of the discolored thinking of people based upon the actions of a government that should always be very important, very focused on what people want. All right, that's my synopsis. If you take it, good. If you don't, God bless you anyway. Cheryl Bazard, it's good to see you. Thank you very much, and it's good to see you.
Thank you for having us.
I like to see my good friend Heather Hunt, who I'm happy that the air conditioning works well for. Yes, anyway, we've got to go. We didn't get to talk about the gate and the scales of justice.
Well, you'll have to bring us back.
I'll leave that for the second tier.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have another show with you all next week, Tuesday, right? Yeah, so, Yeah, okay.
Where we can talk about each of the bills.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think, if you come back, can we put you down so we can promote it, that you'll be back for next week, Tuesday?
Yeah.
Heather and Cheryl. Yeah.
Yeah, one of us will be here or both.
Okay. All right, we'll do that. We'll save it for that, all right? We'll talk about those other things. Sorry, callers on the line. I can't take any more calls. I'm way over time. My goodness, 7:42. Soup's on the pot. Nathan, we got soup tonight, and I got to go.
I want some if it's pea soup.
Oh, wife, don't kill me, wife. You know you're the best. I guess. That's our show for tonight, right here on Hard Copy. We've had Cheryl Bazard and, of course, tonight Heather Hunt. They're both from the Yes Vote campaign. We do appreciate your participation today. Thank you for your questions and your concerns. I just want to tell you that our show today has been brought to you by the folks that make it happen all the time, and proponents of the Yes Vote and the No Vote campaign. Cybertech, Nassau Motors, Commonwealth Bank, Ministry of Tourism, Kalina Insurance, Super Wash, Bank of the Bahamas, Super Value, McKinney Media Group, Advantage Insurance and Broker, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron's Electric, Motors, Sky, Bahamas, Seafile, Executive Printers, Henry F. Store, Buddies, Wings and Greens on Foxhill Road. Tomorrow we're back on the show. John Boswick is going to be large and actually at large tomorrow. Here on the show with me. We got lots to talk about. You want to be a part of it. We end the show tonight by a paid sponsor. Is that right? Did I say it right? The people from No Vote. Their jingle something. Anyhow, that's what they tell me. But anyway, that's our show for tonight. Good night, ladies. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing.
Just the other day, they got their own agenda. You know just how they just go. They even believe in foreign first, so we vote no, 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 we vote no. Look here, you wanna give away citizenship like it's candy. Bahamian citizenship is an honor and a right to be earned. Bahamian citizenship is in a fire sale giveaway. On June 7th, you let them know by voting no. It's the just another swing. I don't see the relation. Why you're mixing gender up with immigration? Want put your worldly ways, but pagans them be blind. We legalize and nothing that can cross up gender lines. We vote no. 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 No. Oh, look at it. Oh no. Listen here. Don't let them swing you. If you don't understand that, vote no. Just vote no. Watch this. Try fool me once, I let the first one pass. Try fool me twice, then the first one was your last. They wanted the referendum and shove it down our throat. But we gonna kill their plans just by voting no. We vote 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 no. Saying this and saying that, what y'all gonna do next? Bringing all these foreign influences on our people's necks. We are true Bohemians. We stopped this once before. You will pass a referendum, then bring us righteous laws. Oh, we vote no. 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 We vote nil. We vote New York. We vote nine. We vote no. We vote no. We vote never. We vote nada. We vote never. We vote no. 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 We vote nil. We vote never. We vote nada. We vote no. We vote no. We vote nine. We vote no. We vote no. 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 Vote no. We vote no. We vote no. We vote no. We vote nada. We vote nil. We vote nine. We vote no. We vote no. Don't forget, register to vote. June 7th, referendum 2016. Listen, you can vote how you want to. But if you don't understand and you don't know, then vote no. We vote no. We vote no.
This is Peace Radio After Dark.
Shanti, chapter 2. Let's rock.
Can you rock with me? Oh, baby, not stop for me. Can you take it to the top of me? I just wanna love you, baby. Always thinking love you, baby. Can you roll with me? Oh, baby, all over me. Can you take control of me? I just wanna love you, baby. Always thinking love you, baby. I think I like how your body feels next to me. Oh, baby, when you're kissing me. Oh, baby, when you're loving me. I can't describe what